All right, we have 5:30 p.m. Good evening to everyone. I hope everybody had a good weekend other than what happened on the game Saturday night or Saturday afternoon. Thank you for being here. I'm going to read a couple things first and foremost. We appreciate you being here, taking the time to participate in the public hearing process. We have 2 items on the public hearing agenda tonight. The first item being heard is the proposed map amendment for 3 parcels on Cochran Road. The second item to be heard is for the proposed development at 398 College Avenue. We understand this is a topic many of you feel passionate about, and we want to ensure that everyone is heard in a respectful manner. Please be mindful this public hearing is for the City Council to receive information as we deliberate this issue. It's not a forum for debate or disruptive behavior. Everyone deserves a voice whether you agree or disagree. Disruptive and disrespectful behavior such as an applause, cheering, gasp, or talking while others are speaking will not be tolerated tonight. Those behaving in this manner will be asked to leave the meeting. To ensure that everyone has a fair chance to be heard, we established a clear process that we will be following. First, we'll be beginning by reading the written comments we received. Given the large number, our Mayor Pro Tem will be reading most of them, and if she needs assistance, she'll let us know. After that, we'll open the floor to those wishing to speak. All speakers will be limited to 5 minutes unless the City Council authorizes one extension of 3 minutes. To make the most of our time and heard from as many people as possible, we ask that you do not repeat information already presented by a previous speaker. If you agree with someone who has already spoken, please simply state your agreement and then bring any new information to the subject. We will now begin the public hearing for the map amendment for the 3 parcels on Cochran Road. And once the Cochran public hearing is over, then we'll start the second agenda item on our public hearing. So the first agenda item is proposed map amendment Cochran Road parcels. An application for a zoning map amendment rezoning was submitted by Robert York, property owner, on May 9, 2025. As proposed, 3 parcels of land totaling approximately 1.35 acres located on Cochran Road, currently addressed 105, 107, and 109, will be rezoned from RM1 2-family residential district to RM3 multifamily residential district. No proposed development project is currently associated with this requested rezoning. And at this time, Jacob P. Motter, you gonna come on up?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, sir.
And I will actually speak a little bit more than I usually do on these type of applications. The applicant just doesn't feel super comfortable presenting in front of council, and as a long-term resident, I told him that I would help on his behalf, and since it did get a positive recommendation from Planning Commission, I felt that was appropriate. Yeah, so the property is currently zoned RM1, and at the June 17th meeting of the Planning Commission this year, they did vote to unanimously approve it for a zone change to RM3. If you look at your packets on page 4, you can see an aerial photograph of the area. And you'll see that these are single-family homes. The owner first acquired the first one, I think it was 1981, and going through the 90s acquired the other 2. But the neighborhood is very different from single-family homes now. It is surrounded by, Essex Drive townhouses, the lofts apartments, across the street there's apartments, and basically all around it is either duplexes or townhouses or apartments. The future land use map shows this whole area as being medium-density residential. So it's both consistent with the comp plan and the actual development in the neighborhood at this time to rezone it to RM3, which would allow for townhouse developments and even a small apartment building potentially. And honestly, with that, I think that pretty much says it all, is that the Planning Commission did find that this proposal was consistent with the future goals of the city and gave a positive recommendation. Do you guys have any questions?
Any questions for Jacob?
Okay.
We'll open the floor for the public. Thank you, Jacob.
No problem at all.
Yes, ma'am. And please, when you walk up, if you don't mind, I should have said this. There are a couple, please come on up, sorry.
Okay.
Come on up, please state your name, your residence, and then if you sign over there with Jeremiah, And then I forgot to mention one last thing. There are ADA devices. If you need them, Jeremiah is great to make sure. So, yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
My name is Amy Saylor. I did sign up with you. I live at 207 Calhoun Street, right around the corner from the proposed zoning map amendment on Cochran. And I actually just emailed you a couple days ago, Mayor Haffinger. I'm the one that has the milkweed project.
Yes, ma'am.
Right there on the corner of Cochran and Calhoun. Mayor Haffinger graciously gave us permission to take over that little strip of city land to plant milkweed, and we've had great success. And this year we've had an incredible number of monarchs, and I have several cocoons now and many caterpillars. But I just wanted to speak out because I love my home and where I live at 207 Calhoun. My home is 110 years old. We call it the old Calhoun district over in that neighborhood. It's really the only historical area in Clemson. As Councilwoman Scott knows, there's a lot of character in that neighborhood as she used to live in that area as well. So I would just like the council to consider the historical significance of the area as well as the character of the neighborhood, which is quickly diminishing because of so many large student housing developments that have come into the area, and we only have a few remaining single-family homes in that area. But those of us who live in those single-family homes love the character of that area, and so we're sad to think of the few remaining some of the few remaining single-family homes being torn down and have yet another huge student complex or whatever may come in the future being put there. So yeah, I would just ask you to maybe consider preserving that area, preserving some of the unique character and the historical significance, and also consider, of course, like many other areas of our town, the traffic concerns. We already have some traffic issues building up in that neighborhood because of the lofts development, so I can only imagine that this will further lead to more traffic issues. And that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Other comments?
Stephanie Platt, 103 Mount View Lane. I also live in the historic town of Calhoun district, and it is very historic. I know Councilwoman Cheryl lives in that neighborhood also, and I don't think that, we need to build any more student housing in historical neighborhoods around Clemson.
Thank you. Don't forget, yeah, thank you. Other comments? And just to make sure, Jeremiah, none were submitted for item 1.
My name is Gay Eidenmiller. I live at 137 Honeycomb Lane in Daniel High School, but when my parents pass away, I will own their house at 210 Strawberry Lane. I am here to express concerns regarding the City of Clemson's 2025 Comprehensive Plan, specifically its approach to sustainability and resilience, and to highlight the emphasis.
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt, but this is for item 1 on the
Oh,
reason.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Yes, ma'am. You'll have the opportunity.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Other comments in reference to the proposed map amendment on Cochran Road parcels? Give it just one more minute. If not, we'll close out that aspect of our public hearing, item 1. No other comments? All right. We'll now close out this public hearing and begin the public hearing for the proposed plan development for 398 College Avenue. Once again, just as a reminder, this is not a forum for debate or disruptive behavior, such as applause, cheering, gas, talking, will not be tolerated. Those behaving in this manner will be asked to leave the meeting. We will now begin reading the written comments we received. Mayor Pro Tem. Sorry.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
have a stack here, so I'll try to make sure I give due diligence to everybody's comments. I won't let this cut into public comment time for everybody's in attendance as well. So our first comment comes from Miss Eva Henry. She writes, to Clemson City Council, or to anyone that is concerned, there are a number of possible high-rise buildings that are being built near College Boulevard. These might be built, and there will be many of these temporary residents that will vote for you, but many permanent residents will not vote for you. Where are all these people going to park? Hope you will think of the long term of things that will happen. Sincerely, again, Miss Eva Henry. The second comment comes from Miss Julie Mefford. Her address is 104 Mitchell Avenue in Clemson. She writes, Dear City Council, thank you for your time and service to the public. I wanted to let you know of my very strong position that is in line with the majority of the residents in Clemson against the monstrosities that are being proposed to be built at the corner of College Ave and Strode Circle and Pine Street and North Clemson Ave. Oh, I apologize. This is not, is this in line with the one that we're? Yes, it is. I apologize.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's one of them.
The two addresses threw me off. These two proposed buildings go against the very fabric of the City of Clemson and are not a part of the proposed developmental areas as discussed in the City of Clemson Comprehensive Plan booklet. The scale and size of the projects are absolutely shameful and do not take into consideration the enormous student housing buildings that have just been built and are in the process of being built blocks away. It is clear that the rezoning rules for PUD developments are being abused and that these rezoning rules need to be changed, which has been brought up by others as an action to be changed by City Council. At a planning committee meeting, it was recommended that residents review the City of Clemson Comprehensive Plan 2024 booklet. I did so. I would like to point out that on page I-7, it states the City of Clemson will preserve and protect the neighborhood character and quality of life in residential neighborhoods and maintain neighborhood character, stability, and safety. On page 8, it states, Housing Element Goal 3 is to encourage a balanced range of housing types that promote clean, safe, and affordable housing. In recent years, this balance has been highly skewed to student housing. This is directly stated in the report. The growth of student housing is out of control. The City of Clemson Comprehensive Plan on page 8C also states, Housing Element Priorities. The Comprehensive Plan Progress Report Committee on Housing recommended the following overarching ideas as the highest priorities. Protect our existing neighborhoods. On page 9, it states, in the 5-year review of the plan, the Planning Commission identified the following specific goals as top priorities for the housing element. Protect existing single-family neighborhoods. There are many other passages on these 3 pages alone that express similar points and support City Council voting no to the 2 planned developments. It is obvious the citizens of Clemson are very frustrated that they are not being heard with their concerns and that the very vision of this comp plan is not being followed. There is huge concern about the plot of land where the 398 College Avenue development is planned. This development would take place on a site where 3 waterways converge. There are large environmental impacts, neighborhood flooding concerns with the scope and scale of the project. On page 9 of the City of Clemson Comp Plan, under 4, Chapter 7, Natural Resources element, Summary Section A, it states, the City of Clemson is known as a community whose informed stewardship of its natural resources seeks a thoughtful balance between the built and natural environments. The proposed development on Strode Circle and College Avenue is not a preservation or balance of our natural environment. Clemson is a smaller town, not a large city such as Greenville. Many residents I talked with were drawn to Clemson for this very reason. Clemson must fight to keep the small town feel and must fight and say no to these developments. I heard that even larger cities such as Greenville has said no to some to be sure growth is properly planned. The firm in charge of this proposed development on 398 College is from Austin, Texas. The firm's only priority is to make money. It became evident of this at several planning commission meetings I attended or watched. Representatives from the firm have come poorly prepared for planning committee meetings and poorly prepared to discuss concerns with local residents of Clemson. The firm begrudgingly made minor changes to their original plan and only because they were required to do so by the planning committee. Do not for one moment think that the firm has the residents of the city of Clemson in their best interest. They do not. As you know, the Planning Commission did not vote unanimously over the 398 College Avenue development. 2 members opposed the project. It is now the City Council's turn, and now is the time to say no. The City Council has the right to decline this development. I know the case was different for the Hub, as well as the Pine Street development. The City Council has the right and the power to listen to their community, the very community that voted each person onto the council to be their voices. I voted you onto this council to be my voice and vote no to 398 College Avenue. Again, this statement is from Ms. Julie Mefford at 104 Mitchell Avenue. Our next, is Mr. Howell here? I just want to make sure I don't read in his place if he's present. Okay. Our next statement is from Mr. Howell, who lives at 121 Pool Lane. He writes, Dear Mayor and council members, thank you for your service to the community. I'm not writing to fight the inevitable. Based on past decisions, it's clear this project will pass, just as so many others have when developers come to town. What troubles me and many of my neighbors is how often it feels like residents are treated as an afterthought while developers are prioritized. This project is significantly different and larger in impact than what was originally described. While the apartment building has been reduced in size, the townhomes have been expanded so much that they function more like larger apartment buildings. This shift changes the scale of the development and its effect on nearby neighborhoods. If approval is certain, then at the very least, council should insist that the developer take real responsibility for how this will affect our community. Here is what responsibility looks like. Number 1, construction impacts. Construction will be a long, multi-year process, and neighbors should not have to endure constant disruption. No neighborhood roads closed or blocked, daily cleanup and dust suppression, enforceable penalties that actually have impact on the developer when violations occur. 2, landscaping and buffers. Landscaping was shown as a key protective feature in the renderings. These must not be watered down after any approval. Ask for specific sizes now before you approve the plan. Trees, plants, and buffers must be installed exactly as shown in renderings. Permanent buffers and fencing along residential streets. Developer must maintain landscaping forever with fines for neglect. 3, traffic and safety. The project's traffic will spill into neighborhoods unless protections are put in place. Riggs Drive is especially vulnerable. Do not allow townhomes to exit onto Strode Circle. Riggs Drive must be protected from cut-through traffic. Solutions include making Riggs one-way, installing speed humps, restricting resident-only access, and as a last resort, converting Riggs to a cul-de-sac. Developers must pay for all improvements outside their parcel boundaries, including sidewalks and pedestrian crossings, and additional lighting along College and Strode. Number 4, community benefits and accountability. Residents deserve ongoing oversight and guarantees that promises will be kept. Require a neighborhood committee with resident representatives, staff, and a developer contact. Developer to repair neighborhood roads, sidewalks, or utilities damaged during construction. Establish a neighborhood improvement fund paid for by the developer, dedicated to upgrades outside their parcels. Number 5, noise and light controls. Noise and lighting should not spill over into neighborhoods. Rooftop and pool amenities closed by 9 or 10 p.m. to prevent neighborhood disruption. Require dark sky compliant lighting to reduce glare into nearby homes. And number 6, townhomes have become apartments. What was first presented as townhomes has grown into another apartment building. This change deserves stronger oversight. Council must recognize the increased density and require compensating neighborhood protections, and entrance and exit for this building must remain off College Avenue only. In closing, Clemson's character and quality of life are in your hands. Please do not let short-term developer profits outweigh the long-term health of our neighborhoods. Protect us, your neighbors, and the people who live here year-round by requiring the developer to deliver on every promise and ensuring the community sees real enforceable benefits. Respectfully, Mr. Robert Howell. Thank you for bearing with me, everybody. I want to make sure I read these very carefully.
You're doing a good job.
Our next comment comes from Devin Gorey at 122 Riggs Drive. They write, thank you to our city council members for service. I think each of you took this job to make Clemson a better place. I hope that you will vote no to the 398 College Avenue project, and below I explain why. I realize you must weigh the costs and benefits of the project for the city, and I do not think the proposed benefits warrant a PUD exception to the existing zoning. And I think the costs outweigh the proposed benefits and go against the Clemson Next white paper and the City of Clemson comp plans. When trying to understand the PUD process, I came across the City of Clemson Plan Development Process Overview Flyer that explains the advantage of PUD is to get public benefit out of the development. 398 College Avenue project provides very little benefits to the citizens of the City of Clemson. The project highlights a coffee shop as one of the benefits, yet there are 5 different coffee shops within walking distance of the location. 3 of those are local businesses, Grace Coffee, All In, and Andy's Spill the Beans, that will likely be hurt by another chain taking away customers. Bringing in another chain also seems to go against recommendation 3 in Clemson Next Enhanced Small Business Ecosystem. The second benefit put forward is additional parking for the public. However, this project is tearing up 2 parking lots, one for the current businesses at 400 College and one behind 392 College, as well as portions of parking along Strode and Riggs. In addition, the project builds twice as many beds as parking spaces, which will likely result in many of the public spaces being used by residents and visitors of the newly constructed rooms. Parking in this area along College is often empty except during class and game days, suggesting there is not a strong need for more parking. Moreover, there are 2 projects that will bring more parking to the area in the next couple of years. The parking benefit seems small at best. Finally, the proposal offers less than 5,000 square feet of retail, not counting the coffee shop or leasing office. At a time when we have empty retail and more being constructed, that is not always a benefit to the public. For retail to offer a benefit and help reduce traffic, what Clemson really needs is a place where students can shop for groceries and necessities. This requires much more than 5,000 square feet of retail. As it is, you need a car to live in Clemson, and the density won't help traffic if we don't make living downtown without a car possible. Overall, there is not much being offered to the citizens of Clemson by this proposal. Any minor benefits are outweighed by the enormous costs being put on residents. First, 104 Riggs is a home in downtown Clemson historical neighborhood. The proposed plan will tear down this house. This is the antithesis of what is outlined in the City of Clemson comp plan. Page 7 says the City of Clemson will preserve and protect the neighborhood character and quality of life. Page 8 says to protect our existing neighborhood. Moreover, 102 Riggs is the location of another home. Moreover, 102 Riggs was the location of another home in the neighborhood less than a decade ago that was never rebuilt after a tree fell and has left a hole, one that should be filled with family homes, not an 8-story building. The neighborhood is being encroached upon, which goes against Clemson Next goal of facilitating student housing to limit the encroachment of student rentals into traditional single-family neighborhoods. It also goes against the draft plan, which says stable neighborhoods near the university are well-established, predominantly single-family residential areas known for their charm and well-maintained properties. These neighborhoods are considered among the most prestigious and should be preserved in their current form. Tearing down a house in our neighborhood to make room for more dorm-type construction does not align with the City of Clemson recommendations in Clemson Next, the 2024 comp plan, or the draft 2045 comprehensive plan. Second, the proposed construction has a rooftop amenity. The neighborhood already has noise pollution that dramatically increased after Roar built a rooftop gathering place. A rooftop amenity even closer, where children nap and parents get to bed early, will certainly carry noise to our homes. Third, the large number of residents that this development will bring to the entrance of the neighborhood will turn our quiet roads into a thoroughfare for students. This is dangerous to children in our neighborhood, out on bike rides, and families taking walks. Finally, this is the one last remaining tree-lined section of College. Under current zoning, it's likely that this area remains forested and Clemson can preserve some of the urban forest character, which is a priority in the comp plan. The proposed plan will cut down most of the trees, and despite planting new ones, most of the area will be covered with a massive concrete building. I was a respondent to the Clemson Next surveys that led the current white paper and helped shape the current comp plans. I support high-density housing in downtown when placed thoughtfully, but I don't think it should come at the expense of the adjacent neighborhoods. This plan proposes tearing down a house in our neighborhood. We need to have more than another coffee shop, a few parking spots, and a small amount of retail to say that this proposal benefits the public. I urge City Council members to vote no to this proposal and preserve our family neighborhood. Sincerely, Devin Gorey at 122 Riggs Drive. Our next comment comes from Shannon Sharkey at 101 Pool Lane. This reads, I'm writing to express my concern about the proposed multi-story apartment complex and townhome development. The development would be at the entrance to my neighborhood. We are already dealing with daily disruptions from construction of the hub and MODA. Our neighborhood is a popular cut-through for those looking to avoid driving downtown, which already sees traffic density beyond safe amounts on the conditions of the roads. There are many empty first-floor commercial opportunities that have not been developed within downtown available. We have not felt the impact to our neighborhood of the hub and MODA as they are not complete. My concerns are that we are developing Clemson faster than we are measuring impact on the neighborhoods and stores. We do not know if this build is appropriate, needed, or would have a positive impact on the community because we have not assessed the need for additional buildings once current projects are complete. I encourage City Council to consider existing neighborhoods and the impacts of student housing on our ability to live and shop. Please reject this build, wait to see the impact of current builds, and consider long-term needs of the town. Again, from Shannon Sharkey at 101 Pool Lane. Next comment comes from Leslie Conrad at 258 Riggs Drive. This reads, Clemson is a college town. No one who lives here expects to not have interaction with students, even having some in our neighborhoods. We all know that if we live in a downtown neighborhood, we will have close proximity with students and student housing, and we do. There are other reasons to consider whether this is consistent allowance of development is in the best interest of our city. Clemson University is in a time of uncertainty. That is the exact word used by our university president in his written message to faculty and staff on August 8th. He references the increased challenges for funding, challenges in athletics, and public debate on the value and role of higher education itself. This is not just an issue for Clemson, but schools across the country. An August 12th article in the New York Times references rising administrative and support costs, higher tuition prices, and other considerations are turning students off who are routinely paying more and oftentimes getting less. Universities are cutting programs. Here at Clemson, the university has implemented extreme spending cuts and hiring freeze in order to get ahead of financial crises. While this won't last forever, it does seem like a poor time to be approving more housing and spending more money, especially based on an institution that is taking a minute to figure out what is next. At the start of the fall semester, which is the main enrollment period for the university, the websites on the following properties in and around downtown Clemson were advertising units for immediate move-in: University Ridge, Bixby on College, the U Center, Campus View, and 114 Earl. This indicates that downtown properties are not overflowing. Additional housing will be coming by ways of MODA and the Hub, set to open in 2026 and 27 respectively, and the impacts of these properties are not known at this time. It seems prudent to consider what we have and what is already in the works before moving forward with even more development. Being against a project does not equal being against growth and development. The Clemson community has grown and will continue to do so. Saying no to a proposed development will not hinder the progress already being made in the city of Clemson. I ask that council not approve the proposed development at 308 College Ave. Respectfully submitted, Leslie Conrad on Riggs Drive. The next comment comes from Vincent Irvin at 108 Riggs Drive. Dear members of Clemson City Council, I would like to vote my opposition to the proposed development in the proposed planned development. A high-rise student accommodation in a residential neighborhood. Several reasons of my opposition to this project are given below. The rezoning of property directly affects the owners in the neighborhood of the property being rezoned. These owners have invested significant financial resources with an understanding of the surrounds based on the city zoning map they are committed to living in. Rezoning implicitly breaks the contract between the city and the homeowners. Understandable, there are circumstances when rezoning is necessary, however, this is not one. The individual or company that purchases the properties listed in this proposed development is aware of the zoning and now seeks to change the zoning for their benefit to the detriment of the neighboring properties. The lighting from the proposed multi-story building will significantly impact homes in the neighborhood. In the evening, all the windows facing the neighborhood will be light sources. Students in general tend to stay up and study later than families in neighborhoods, so the light tower will be blazing after many homes in the neighborhood go to bed. Privacy. There is a standard cartoon of the nosy neighbor peeking over the fence, watching what their neighbor is doing. With the proposed development, nearby homeowners won't need to be concerned about any nosy neighbor, as there will be hundreds of people in the apartment building with the ability to look down into their property. Sunsets. It is reasonable expectation that residents in a residential neighborhood be able to enjoy the sunsets in their yard. Residents in the near neighborhood of the proposed 100-foot high-rise apartment building will have this pleasure taken from them. Burying the creek. There's a significant green space which parallels the creek from Wyatt Ave to College Avenue. The creek is the conduit for a rich biodiverse environment. For example, recently, a great blue heron was in the creek on my property working its way up from the lake. Beavers have also made their way up. In March, beaver dams were removed from both creeks, passing through the property at the corner of Riggs and Strode. Burying the creek as proposed in the development would completely sever the biodiverse environment, running from Wyatt Ave to College from that of the lake. In property damage, more and more we are experiencing both micro rainbursts and heavy rainfall events from tropical storms. In the past, such events, when the lake was high, have caused flooding to our property along the creek. Burying the creek will increase the chances of flooding events on our property and associated property damage. Clemson developers parking space jam. Students won't need their car, they can walk everywhere. I have lived in the center of some large cities where I did not need a car, and in fact having a car was a liability. These cities had two features that made not having a car desirable: a well-developed public transport system and grocery stores within 3 blocks of where people lived. Clemson has neither of these features. Students can walk to class and sporting events, however, simple things such as visiting the botanical gardens or visiting a friend not downtown is impossible without a car. Implicit in the shams of students not needing a car is the assumption that all students need for sustenance is beer and pizza. Yes, they can buy milk and chips and salsa at the quick shop, at the gas station, but God forbid they want fruits, vegetables, fresh meat, etc. The nearest grocery store is Publix, which is beyond that range that somebody can comfortably carry groceries. In contrast to students living in dorms on campus who can walk to dining halls. Top-level entertainment area. The proposed development has an outdoor swimming pool on the 9th level. During the spring and fall, this will be a social entertainment area for the residents. In addition to the light issue, gatherings involve loud music. Even with the restrictions imposed, using the rooftop facility, some students will figure out a way to party on the roof late into the night, much to the disturbance of the neighboring residents. Okay, this keeps going. The Judas price that developers offer to the council to portray the wishes of Clemson community. These neighborhoods are considered among the most prestigious in the city, expressed in the comp plan. These neighborhoods are considered the most prestigious in the city and should be preserved in their current form. Redevelopment to increase density in student housing should be discouraged. For creek preservation, public parking spaces, and the extension of the downtown corridor plan on the east side of College. It is nauseating to hear and read how proud the developer is of their creek preservation while they fail to acknowledge the fact that they are burying the creek. Public parking spaces. In the beginning of the fall semester, I've been observing the public parking spaces around Earl and Earl Street. On those days, only half the spaces are used. If downtown parking is such an issue, why was the construction of the Shepherd Hotel approved with no parking? An extension of the
20 seconds.
Thank you. Extension of the downtown corridor plan when the PD for the establishment of the Earl Street student accommodation was considered, who prior to their election of the council, sorry, I read that wrong. When the PD for the establishment of the Earl Street student accommodation was being considered, a council member at the time, who prior to their election, I'll apologize, we are on the same time limit for these, but I want to encourage the public to continue to send comments. These are on the record as well. We don't get rid of these, so I'll make sure you guys all have a copy of these, and I apologize for anybody I wasn't able to finish their comments.
Is that it for the submitted comments? Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask Nathan to come up and give an update on the proposed plan development of 398, or do you want to introduce? Okay, or Jacob is, okay. So I'm going to let Jacob talk about the proposed plan development of 398. Thank you very much.
Yes, so I won't go into as much detail as I did in the last public hearing because the developer's here and going to be giving their presentation. But this did receive a positive recommendation at the August 11th meeting from the Planning Commission. And they have had several reiterations based on comments from the public and by the Planning Commission. And with those comments and changes to it, they did get a positive recommendation. With that, I will turn it over to the developer to give his updated presentation.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Mauricio Lisbal. I'm here on behalf of LD Collective to present the PD on 398 College Ave. I'd like to start with our timeline here. We started this project early in the year with some early feasibilities, met with staff, got their feedback, went back, did some redesign, and officially submitted this project in April. That took us through Planning Commission all throughout the summer, and which led us here today to the first City Council public hearing. Our goals are to wrap up the council process and get a positive recommendation to groundbreak early next year and opening in summer of 2028. The project at a high level is contained of 3.7 acres, brings 9,400 square feet of retail to College Avenue, contains 760 beds in 230 units. It has 380 residential parking spaces and an additional 150 public parking spaces. I'd like to start here with what the project brings to the table as in forms of benefits to the city, starting with the public parking, as was mentioned earlier. 150 public parking spaces. This would be the largest public parking in the area from all of the projects that have offered. For reference, this project is a 4-minute walk to downtown. It will provide a very easy breezeway connection from the parking out to the street. It's not visible from the street as it's covered by all the units. And in total, the value for this parking adds up to around $6.5 million when you can plan and soften hard costs. Retail, so we're bringing in 9,400 square feet of retail as discussed, 2,400 of which will be open day one with our Daydreamer Cafe. This is a brand that we have, and we have partnered with a local barista in Austin. Here to the right, an example of our Daydreamer in Austin. The remaining 7,000 square feet will be for third-party retail. We outfit the spaces to make it very easy to lease and to do as much F&B as possible. So we'll provide grease traps, grease ducts, and make it very easy for anyone to come in and lease those spaces. The third one, stream preservation, as it was discussed in the notes. There are three streams running across the site. We are preserving one of the three. It totals to 285 linear feet of stream in the form of natural preservation. There, the other two are going to be relocated and mounted around the building. With this also comes a heavy canopy coverage preservation of 30%, as you can see on the site plan. And lastly, the College Avenue streetscape. So around 1,000 linear feet of streetscape that is in line with the proposed new College Avenue streetscape for College Avenue, sorry. This includes a widened sidewalk, a dedicated bike lane, and an extension of this sidewalk all the way to Keith Street, so in front of U Center as well, as part of this project. The total cost for this is roughly $2 million, including soft and hard cost. And with this, I want to hand it over to Mohammed Mohsen, our architect, for a project overview.
Thank you, Rishi. Good evening. Thank you for having us. I'm going to start with the site plan, what you're seeing up on the screen. The project is made of two different parcels, the south being on the right side and the north on the left side. First thing, when you look at the site plan, you can see the extent of the preserved stream and tree canopy and the landscape buffer that we have along Strode Avenue and Riggs. The south building on the right, the larger building, we got a precast parking deck at the center of the development that houses the 150 public parking spaces as well as the residential parking. The parking deck itself is wrapped with residential on all four sides. What you're seeing here is the ground level along College. The purple is commercial use. Mauricio mentioned the commercial space that we have on the project, which is shown here in purple. The red is the ground level functions of the residential building. So you have your lobby, the leasing, and some of the residential amenities. You can see the residential at the back on Riggs comes all the way down to grade. We'll talk a little bit more about the step backs and and the setbacks from rigs and follow-up slides. The north parcel here, you're seeing the ground level. Again, the frontage along College Avenue is commercial space in purple. The midsection of the building is lobby, amenities, access to a few parking spaces behind the building, and then some residential all the way up along on the east side along Knox. Next slide. This is the overall facade along College Avenue, and you see the composition in general. It's divided into two very distinct masses, separated by this inset, that darker vertical inset, which help break up the length of the building and the perception of scale from the street. The ground level, the gray base is masonry base, very high percentage of transparency and glazing. It projects out from the rest of the residential above several feet to help engage the sidewalks and provide for a more pedestrian-friendly proportions. Materiality, masonry at the base, red masonry at the midsection of the building, and fiber cement panel with vertical battens to provide some detail and break up the expanses of wall up high in the building. On the next slide, this is a zoom in onto on the residential lobby and the entry and the cafe area. Again, you see at the ground level, very high level of transparency where we have these engaging activities. The grades along the streets, we've got a step down design concept here, and you can kind of see it stepping down to follow the natural grades. The inclusion of planters, landscape, and trees to help enhance the pedestrian experience along the street edge. Large windows throughout to bring in the daylight, and again the fiber cement with battens and the masonry. We received some positive feedback from BAR on the composition of College Avenue facade. We were encouraged to take that same language and carry it all the way throughout the development, which we'll show a little bit more of that on the next slides. This is a zoom in at the midsection along College Avenue, showing the commercial suites. Glazing, outdoor seating that extends out to the street edge to engage with the sidewalks. You can see the pedestrian breezeway that connects back to the parking on the very left of this image that connects directly to the public parking spaces that we have provided in the precast deck. Next slide. This is the northwest corner of the development. You can see the architecture and the language a little bit more in perspective here. On the next slide, we zoom in a little bit more, and we show how the building is brought down to connect with the natural setting that we have, where we have the preserved stream and the tree canopy. We took advantage of that by lowering the residential amenities down to get closer to that, to the stream and its charm. The more formal language that we had, we were talking about with the masonry and the stacked windows, transitioned into a more playful architecture here, as you see on the left, the inclusion of the wood look accents there to tie into and reinforce the natural setting that we're in at this corner of the development. Now we transition to the back of the building. This is the view from Riggs. This is where we started several weeks ago, maybe a couple of months ago, before we had any discussions with Planning Commission, BAR, and before we heard from the community. We were encouraged to go back and look at ways to scale down the building along Riggs as we transition to the single-family neighborhood. Next slide here shows what we've done in terms of scaling down. Red kind of indicates where we were. The white mass behind it is what we proposed in terms of height reduction. Next slide kind of shows it without the red lines. And then on the BR meeting, this is where we got a comment about trying to break up the mass, articulate it a little bit more, bring that same architectural language and detailing that we have along College to this side of the development. And so the next slide is what we've done to address that comment, and you can see it's a lot more articulated. We brought in a higher percentage of masonry at the base, the fiber cement with the battens to bring in a residential scale to it. This is where we have the design currently. We've got another set of slides that shows where we started a couple of months ago, what we've reduced the density to. Here it is before the BAR comments, and then finally, this is where we are today with the more articulated, more broken up version of the massing. Next slide. We now get into the north parcel. The left side of the screen there is the north building. Same material palette, same finishes with the mix of masonry, fiber cements, with a slightly varied detailing and accents. We wanted to give this building its own identity. We didn't want it to be a repeat of the large building on the south. And so you can see that we brought the materiality, but the language adjusted a little bit. Down at the base here, you're seeing the commercial space fronting college, red masonry and fiber cement with accents above. Next slide zooms in a little bit, shows you in perspective. Again, commercial suite with that dark gray. Here you can start to really see the detailing and the texture of the masonry and some of the attention to details around the windows. Next slide kind of looks at it straight on elevation. This is the Strode circle facade. Where the signage is located, that's the front door to the residential lobby and the ground level amenities. Once we get above the ground level in this building, it's all residential double-loaded corridor layouts. It's 5 stories on the front portion of the building along College, and then on the next slide, you see at the back corner, we step down from 5 stories to 3 stories as we get to Knox, as a means to, again, transition the height and the scale leading up to the single-family neighborhood to the east of this development. This is the intersection of Knox and Strode. Zooming out, the full facade on Strode Avenue shows that step down or the step back on Knox here in the context of the overall elevation. Again, the material palettes bringing in that same language and the same textures that we proposed on the south building. Next slide. This here is kind of an overall elevation to show the project in context of the surrounding buildings. And you can see it's very contextual when you compare it to the U Center to the right side and the Moda building under construction. The difference between these two here on the top is where we had started a couple months ago. We were encouraged to look at reducing the density at the backside of the south building, and so what we ended up doing is we relocated some of that density when we proposed a step down closer to Riggs, and we relocated that density to the north parcel. And so it kind of grew from what it was, 2-story townhomes over apartments, as you see at the top, to now a 5-story building that steps down to 3 stories on Knox, as you see in the bottom image here. This here really kind of shows the landscaping and along Strode and that area where we propose to preserve the stream and the tree canopy. It really kind of brings in that landscape and the greenery separating the 2 buildings along Strode. And with that, I'm going to transition it back to Mauricio for a few last slides to wrap this up. Thank you, Mauricio.
Thank you. All right, a couple more slides and we'll be done here. Setbacks, I just want to provide this exhibit here. The PD document shows some setbacks that we're proposing. As you can see, shown here with the line in red, as you can see, the building in a lot of the areas pulls back even further from those setbacks. So to highlight some areas here, along Riggs, while we have a 25-foot setback, it's really just a very small portion. That's a 25-foot. It opens up on the very back. At the top of this plan, it opens up at the left side on Strode as well. Same, if you can remind, going back to the other one. Same along the north parcel, we have a 25-foot setback on that side. This really matches Moda, exact same condition there. The next slide. So from a step back perspective, as Mohammed was mentioning, we're looking at the south parcel. There's a substantial step back. Mohammed mentioned 2 stories that we brought down the height. Those 2 stories, that step back happens at its steepest for 100 feet deep. So you can see that on the right is substantial enough to where you don't really see that from the street. It feels that's why the renderings felt like a much smaller building. On the left side, on the north parcel, also that 3-story step back, there's an additional 40 feet from the ground floor plane. So we're looking at 65 feet on the upper levels on the north parcel. From a circulation standpoint, we made a big effort to keep everything from College Avenue and try to protect and maintain the rigs without having any circulation on that side. That in an effort to really protect the neighborhood. So as you can see, all entries, all access for service or residential vehicles, everything is coming from College, and some from Strode. From a service standpoint as well, we've tried to really hide all these, so you don't really see them either from College or Riggs or anywhere in the public areas, right? So all these highlighted on the right side, kind of facing U Center, all these services are really hidden from the street. And then just highlighting the very back, all we have there is a fire lane on the rig side that's really only accessed in case of emergency. So won't really see any access on that drive. And lastly here to close it out, just want to summarize again the community benefits. Stream preservation, very visible throughout the site plan and renderings. The 150 public parking spaces, 9,400 square feet of retail, and the College Avenue streetscape extending up to Keith. And with that, that's it. Thank you.
Questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, at this time, we will open it up to public comment. Sign-ups?
Oh, yeah.
That's right, thank you.
We'll do the sign-ups first.
Yeah, I'm sorry, we have we've adapted over the years, so, all right. Yeah, I know it's Rudy. Glasses on, all right. So, I know, first speaker, Rudy Powell on 105. Yes, sir.
Good evening, my name is Rudy Powell. I live at 105 Martin Street, which is a project that will be impacted by this project. Whoever's operating the keyboard, if you could put back up the site plan that the developer had in his presentation. First of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to provide our input on this project, and I want to thank each of you for the sacrifice that you make in serving on City Council. I know it's not an easy job, and I don't have to remind you that your responsibility is to the residents of the City of Clemson that elected you, not to a developer from Texas, not to the students of Clemson University. That's the responsibility of the university, and certainly not to provide housing for students at Clemson. That again is a responsibility of Clemson University, which they have willfully ignored for the past many years. This project will have a significant impact on the character of one of the oldest neighborhoods in the city of Clemson. As the developer shows, the main entrance, once Douthit dorms were constructed, the main entrance to that neighborhood is now through Strode Circle. Now we're going to go through the middle of that development. That's the entrance to our neighborhood. It will also require the demolition of one residence within that neighborhood, a residence that had been there for a long time. It will significantly impact other residents within that neighborhood that are adjacent to that project. Imagine having invested a significant amount of money in improving your property across the street from this proposed project, and now you look out and you see an 8 or 9 story, whatever they're going to end up with, monstrosity across the street from you. Imagine if that were you having to sit there in that house. This project is going to significantly increase pedestrian and moped traffic through that neighborhood. Up Riggs Avenue, up Martin Street, right in front of my house. Mopeds that already ignore the stop sign at the intersection of Martin and Wyatt and just go straight through it. There's going to be an accident there someday. There is not a need for additional student housing in Clemson. Sure, this project will probably end up being fully occupied, but it will be at the detriment to other local people who own apartment complexes within Clemson that will not be occupied anymore because of this one. This is a project that Clemson doesn't need. They brag about, in their development, they brag about stream restoration. What they don't tell you is that they are relocating twice as much stream as the one that they propose to restore. This will be a significant environmental impact to the aquatic resources in that area and in that watershed. This is a project that certainly does not need to be built in Clemson. I disagree or take exception to one of the written comments that came in that said that this project is inevitable. It is not inevitable. If you will remember your responsibility to the residents of Clemson, this project is not inevitable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. So next is Tim Fowler on 111 Pool Lane.
Thank you. Y'all are in a tough position here, and you're gonna hear a lot of negative. I'm not here in support of or against this project. I'm here to say y'all are all elected to represent all the residents of the city of Clemson. We all know that y'all have to make decisions that impact some of us negatively, some of us positively, and y'all have got to weigh every part of this. I think there's some good parts to having more parking, a streetscape that's pedestrian. I think that it's gonna impact me at 111 Pool Lane, but I think ultimately y'all have to make the decision that is best for the entire community, not just maybe what's gonna impact me the most. So I appreciate everything y'all do. I think y'all will make a decision that you ultimately think is best for the city and for as many of us as possible. So thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Next is Gay Erminger on 210 Strawberry Lane.
Okay, I'm here to express concerns regarding the City of Clemson's 2045 comprehensive plan, especially its approach to sustainability and resilience, and to highlight the inconsistencies between the plan's stated goals and certain proposed developments. My analysis is grounded in a review of the plan, relevant definitions, and specific examples that appear to conflict with the principles of sustainability and resilience. The 2045 comprehensive plan defines sustainability in its introductory chapter as the ability to meet the needs of the present without compromising the needs of future generations, adopting a three-pronged framework of environmental, economic, and social sustainability. This definition aligns with the United Nations Brundtland Commission's 1987 report as cited by Earth.org. However, I am concerned that some of the actions and proposals supported by the City of Clemson's leadership deviate from both this definition and traditional understandings of sustainability and resiliency. According to Webster's New World Dictionary, the 1957 edition, which I have at my house and where I got this definition, sustainability is defined as to maintain, keep in existence, keep going, prolong. Similarly, Resilience is described as the quality of being resilient, able to bounce back or spring back into shape, position, etc. after being pressed or stretched, the ability to recover strength. These definitions emphasize long-term stability and the capacity to recover from challenges, principles that appear to be at odds with certain initiatives currently under consideration. One prominent example is the proposed 8-story student housing complex at 398 College Avenue. The property is situated within a long-established residential neighborhood where families have resided for decades, engaging in community activities such as walking pets, riding bicycles, and playing in yards. The neighborhood retains its residential character as it did in the 1950s and 1960s when my family lived there. The proposed development, which is reportedly supported by a developer with ties to Clemson University's president, raises significant concerns about its compatibility with the area's social and environmental sustainability. Residents have voiced strong opposition to this project at multiple planning commission meetings, citing its potential to disrupt the neighborhood's character and exacerbate environmental challenges such as flooding. Despite these concerns, the planning commission voted to advance the proposal to City Council for further review. Approving such a development risks irreversible impacts on the neighborhood's social fabric and environmental sustainability. For example, the construction of a large-scale complex could exacerbate existing flooding issues, as redirecting floodwaters is a complex and often unreliable process due to water's destructive force. And I've dealt with this in my own personal life. Furthermore, should economic conditions deteriorate, such as the event of a collapse of the student housing loan market, the project's long-term viability could be compromised, leaving a lasting negative effect on the community and the environment. The principles of sustainability and resiliency, as outlined in both the comprehensive plan and historical definitions, call for decisions that prioritize long-term community well-being and environmental integrity. I urge the City of Clemson's leadership to reconsider the proposal at 398 College Avenue development and ensure that future decisions align with the stated goals in the comprehensive plan. Community input must be meaningfully considered, and the project should be evaluated for their long-term impacts on the social, economic, and environmental fabric of the City of Clemson.
Okay, you have about 15 seconds.
Okay. And horticulture. I don't know who these people's horticulturist is, but if you plant trees in amongst concrete, they're not going to grow as tall as they say they are.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Sean Haney on 211 Ricks Drive.
All right, I'm at 211 Riggs, and I wish my creek looked like that. I've spent thousands of dollars, and all I can do is put boulders arming my creek. I can't put an eight-story building on my creek. But anyway, those of you who know me may consider me sort of new to Clemson 11 years ago, but the truth is I've been part of Clemson since about 1976. My mom worked at Lamar's, my uncle owned a bakery in the mini mall, and I even have one of old Norm's Beagles in my house right now, so I am Clemson. After I graduated in 1994, I left to serve my country in the Marine Corps. The Marine Corps sent me back here for graduate school. It's at that time that I decided that I wanted to return here and I wanted to live and work here. Now, unfortunately, I'm actually considering options, including potentially an exit plan. This will play a role in that. Part of it is, some of you may know what has happened right beside me by the same owner of these parcels, who continues to do the unthinkable with the properties in Clemson. I've read the plans, I've read the white papers, I've read the comprehensive plans, I've attended all of the planning commissions for this project, so I know how we got here. Sadly, I am worried that this will come to pass. I was here when I saw what happened with the hub. I recognize the developer from Austin is your customer, and by the third planning commission meeting, once we got past the talk of the pictures and the talk of the cafe, it was clear that the bargaining chip was the 150 parking spaces in a project that doesn't have enough parking for residents. I will concede that most of this administration inherited a lack of vision and a growth rate that frankly put you all on a back foot. Totally recognize that. The moratorium helped. But now these recent projects, these are on your watch. There's probably a different conversation for a different time about how these parcels were assembled. Because I thought College Avenue was commercial, had no idea it would come into the neighborhood. We did not get ahead of that. Maybe we didn't want to get ahead of that, but I'd be interested to know how we got here. Your own plans warn of this speculative land acquisition and this very kind of land assembly. But this is different from the Bixby, Moda, Hub. I've heard lots of things about how this differs from those. It infiltrates, I would even say invades, the east of College neighborhood. That's what's different here. To highlight a few things that some of my neighbors have already discussed, but I'll just highlight them here because I'm here. Neighborhood preservation, that is throughout. Limit the encroachment of student rentals. Students live beside me now in the 2 houses that were just ruined and built there. Ensure new attainable housing options for non-students. Don't see that here. I saw the word vibrancy, non-student housing, support unique and distinct shops. A friend of mine has been relocated by the Bixby. She is now going to be relocated by this. No one from the city has actually even reached out to her, a small business owner, to try to retain her. I have no intent, I'm sure she will not be retained here because she's already been relocated twice, so why build again in Clemson? I've read about stable neighborhoods near the university. Our neighborhood is slowly becoming more and more unstable because of students moving into our neighborhood. Part of this is overcome by the event of the university's work on perimeter. So a lot of this about putting density in College Avenue, I think, was based on not pushing traffic towards perimeter. So let students come from Seneca, Pendleton. It'll direct them straight to the commuter parking spaces. I read about civic anchors. I think that was one of the big motivations with the hub. I don't see that here. I'm sorry, a rooftop amenity that we can't enjoy and a cafe is not the civic anchor that it says. And one other point, residents of this complex will absolutely cut through the neighborhood. They already do. Everyone that lives in that north parcel, I guarantee you, the flow, that cut through that already exists from Douthat, it flows right into their building. So there is no anticipation that they will not cut through. Maybe some of the south parcel will go through College, but we know that this will increase traffic. This will increase pedestrian traffic. I kept hearing about activating the neighborhood. I'm pretty good with where we're at in terms of activation. It is where we live. As I said in one of the planning commissions, my opening line was, to quote Beyonce, "This ain't Texas, this is Clemson." Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Bob Brookover on 204 Ricks Drive.
Good evening. First, I am not at all opposed to development. I'm not opposed to a project happening on this site. And I understand that oftentimes with a PD, you get a better product than you would under straight zoning. However, there are a number of issues with this that have been outlined through the night with the 398 and 400 project as currently proposed and designed. I've shared with you an email previously with all of you that outlines some of those things that have to do with the Clemson Next Plan and Uptown Next Plan. For example, 398 is not one of the catalyst areas that was identified. 400 is, but there's some few issues there as well. One of the biggest problems that I have with this, and I want you all to think about this, is people that I think everyone lives in R12 or R20. This is the first time that we're seeing a building of this magnitude that is going to be literally on an R20 road. There will be residents that will look out their front door and see a 5-story building out their front door. I think Moda is a good example of where it did a good job of softening that edge. 2 stories on the backside on a rear alleyway that access both the CM and the R20. You have good separation there. Number of other problems that I won't, go into there that I've shared with you already. But one thing I want to talk about is the idea of these two parcels being combined, the 398 and the 400. Our PD ordinance says that you have to have 2 or 4 contiguous acres. I looked into this a little bit today. I see Rivers is here. He probably has a solid opinion on this as well. But letter of the law, contiguous means together, they are touching. Adjoining, which we also use in the PD ordinance, does say that it can be separated by a road and nearby. So I want you to think about it this way. As currently proposed, the building on 398, that other than not having a true 2 or 3 story level on rigs with a step back like MODA, I actually really like the building designs, okay? I like what they're doing. But by allowing that separate standalone building on the 400 site that shows a leasing office, amenities, and retail on that site, you are in effect allowing the developers to get the benefit of a PD on less than 1 acre. I think it's about 3/4 of an acre to 1/8 of an acre there. And so here's me telling the future again. What will happen is, as soon as this project is complete, if you are to approve it, they will sell that 400 building separately from the 398 building. They would have that ability. And again, you have, in effect, given them the benefit of the PD in what's currently CM that allows for 3 stories on a 3/4 acre plot of land. I think that's a really, really bad precedent to set. There's not another example of a PD that's been approved in the city that had a road dividing the PD, except for Cadera, that has Excelsior Mill Road, but that existed before. That's a huge plot of land, and both sides of that road have more than 4 acres on it, so they conform to the letter of the law there. Additionally, by considering that property across the road that's not currently 1 track, this precedent is going to make it very easy to assemble 2 and 4 acre plots in R12 and R20. You're including an R20 lot in this. That goes against every tenant comp plan, Clemson Next, about protecting neighborhoods. I provided you today, I sent you another email. I could have drawn 100 of these today, showing you ways that you can have PDs encroaching into R12 and R20 with this precedent with less than 2 acres, 1 acre on one side of the street, 1 acre on the other, or 2 acres on one side of the street, 2 acres on the other, and have PDs that are, again, I think you're opening a door here that's not a good precedent to set. I hope you take that into consideration. If I was up there now as someone that's pro-development, I would not approve this as currently proposed. I'd say go back to the drawing board and maybe later consider this. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Kathy Hodges on 100th Road.
Good evening, and thank you for the 5-minute opportunities for speaking. Bob addressed what I was going to bring up, that the PD crossed the road. In your written comment, someone addressed that the character of the building changed completely from a townhouse look to a 5-story apartment. The other thing I would like to comment on is that the number of beds in the total project increased from 718 to 760. Even if you were going to allow this apartment on 400, it should be scaled back. There's no reason to add 42 more beds above the original application. Another comment is that tonight you're facing a buffer yard standards text amendment, where by right zoning, there'll be a 40-foot buffer space for any building that is higher than 3 stories. Why should a PD be allowed 25 feet? This particular development where you've got the frontage of Riggs Drive homes, it deserves more of a setback, and especially since the stream in that area has a history of coming out of its banks at times. So the deeper setback, more conservative approach to potential flooding issue makes sense. This is also the heart of College Avenue. You've got Edgewood, Strode, and College. I'd say it is our key intersection. It could be our city square. I mean, Spartanburg and other cities are putting a lot of emphasis into having a downtown open space, a corner. And we've got a situation where you could have the lighted gateway to the boardwalk, Catherine Smith Park, the preserve string, and a plaza if you have a deeper setback from College. And I think this would be fair to Hubbard and Young. They're a valued small business. They're in compliance with by right zoning, and they deserve customer exposure. They shouldn't be sandwiched between 2 5-story buildings. The diagram that they showed of height, you see a big space between this proposed 5-story building and Hubbard and Young. That's not true to scale. They're right on their property line. So I also think there's the potential civic uses. We've got a large retail space, but a Chamber of Commerce kiosk, public restrooms for the 150 public parking spaces would be convenient at this location. It's across the street from the boardwalk entry. It's across the street from the bus stop. MODA has a plan to build out 1,000 square feet of community space that the public can use for events by reservation. So I think 400 is really a significant location. We didn't see any drawings. They weren't ready and available for the Planning Commission. I don't think it's been given enough consideration. It's more of an afterthought. And I do appreciate all the changes that were made to 398, but in a way it was at 400's expense. And this somewhat illustrates Fran McGuire's concern that citizen input should be heard at an earlier stage. It's, coming now and saying, I think 400 really needs a lot more consideration and work, that it's not ready at this point. So Clemson Next also recommended establishing purpose-built student housing as its own category. So you would have specific parking standards, building heights, and
15 more
densities.
seconds. Just, yes, ma'am, 15 more seconds.
Okay. So, I'm just concerned that 400 is a very, very important location. Even though it's small, the design blends quite well with what's on 398 across the street.
Thank you, Kathy.
So thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Appreciate it. Next is Alan Hodges on 100 Strode.
This is the Hodges tag team going on here.
Understood. Yes, sir.
Just to let you know, I'm one of the few Clemson natives probably in town. Okay. That's 3 of us.
No, my mama helped birth you with Dr. Burley.
Oh, good.
All right.
Yeah, my mother bought a vacant lot, which is now called 101 Riggs, 101 Strode, in 1941, prior to getting married. After marriage, and after World War II ended, we were able to buy houses and get loans again. My parents and grandparents bought the current house, 100, it's actually a double lot, in 1948, and built a house there. So I am what you call a stakeholder in this process. At the, I believe it was the Maverick, or Varsity 3, give me a second. My emergency call does not have to take place here. Anyway, the builder for the Varsity said they had talked to stakeholders about what they wanted or what they liked or did not like in that project. These gentlemen have not done anything like that. MODA actually listened to the neighborhood. They initially planned a U-shape facing Hubbard Young with an outdoor pool. They changed that nicely. They also lowered the back of the building from been 3 stories down to 2. It didn't turn out quite as planned because the artist thought that the alley, Knox Road, was flat. But at least they lowered the building. These folks added 40 extra beds in the process of changing from 7 stories down to 5. Unfortunately, what they did is put this 400 building right outside my front door. There's no way we can buffer, screen, wall off, or hide this building from my house. Currently, my vacant lot 300 in my 101 is 300 feet deep. I'm going to have 100 feet of their building in the first part, then 90 feet of MODA in the next part of my lot. I'm not sure what that does to property values, having 7 and 5 story buildings right on top of you. Apparently, I was very disappointed in the Planning Commission and the fact that this 400 building was not even mentioned. Initially, it was planned to be 2 buildings with 48 beds. Then somehow it became 1 building with 50 beds. And apparently they didn't know what they really wanted to do. Someone in the Planning Commission said, why don't you lower the building from 7 to 5? Magically, we have 130 beds, 70 feet tall, and quite a few square feet popped up where the Morrison House is. And Clemson does not have historic properties. We have Judge Keller's, we have the Bog Store, which is Calhoun Corners, and we have the Morrison House. As you know, it was moved from the Baptist Church area. It's named for Maggie Morrison, whose elementary school is named for. It is a beautiful old home. It does not deserve to be bulldozed to put up student beds. I love to see the Hair Biz and the former Ellen's Creations taken down, and a building, maybe a 3-story building, office building, that would complement Hubbard Young. Because you know, you cannot rent a space in Clemson. If you're a lawyer, doctor, dentist, baker, anything, restaurant, there is no more space. It's all been bulldozed and turned into student housing. So a nice, as my wife said, a plaza would be nice at the on the College Avenue. Something would be, I think a Chamber of Commerce office would look good, and this building at the on College Avenue as part of the 400 process. I also agree that no R20 home should ever be taken for the privilege of putting student housing. We lost 102 years ago. It was a zoned commercial. No one knew that it was zoned commercial until the last person sold it. Also, I think our university friends have given us a count of the shaft. They tore down Johnstone. Instead of building another 500 or 1,000 beds, they put a parking lot for football. So I just hope y'all will consider it. The big building I can live with. The 400 building needs to be reduced to no more than 3, and preferably preserve Morrison and make something useful there rather than student beds. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank you. Amy, you're on here. I want to make sure, but you already spoke for the first agenda item. Okay. Just want to make sure. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Next is Mary Green on 117 Mitchell Avenue.
I didn't plan to speak, and I've heard some good comments that I agree with. And I've lived in this neighborhood since 1987, so I consider myself somewhat of a native. I've raised 3 children there, and it has been a wonderful experience. I hate to see it lost, but I do think that this development will have a negative impact, as it already is beginning to, because I noticed one of my neighbor's houses is being considered part of the planned development. It's a house where a family with 5 children were raised, then subsequently a family with 3 were raised there. And I just hate to see that now we have, the only way out to go to 93, we drive through the campus. It's a wonderful intersection. I think it protects students, which I had a lot of concern about. Now the intersection at Strode, College Avenue, and Edgewood, I believe, is very dangerous because the light turns green just for the pedestrians and for the cars at the same time. Something will have to be done about that. But I just hate to see the neighborhood just gobbled up house by house. One of my friends called it Pac-Man, and I think she has a good idea about that. Also, some of our services are gone. We have no shoe store. The lady who cuts my hair, and she has she's really good to untangle this mess. And she's been relocated once, and now she'll be relocated again. We're just losing our services for the residents. So I don't know, the whole city seems to be changing, and I was on the planning commission for 10 years during a lot of the changes that happened, and you know, I realized that if somebody owns the property, they get to do most of what they want to do with it, and I recognize that. But I just hate to see this coming into a great residential area. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next is Stephanie Platt on 107. It is Mountain Way, right? Mountain View. Yeah. You're good? That's right. Okay. That's it. Okay. Oh, we got another. Yes.
Can I transfer?
We have time for additional public.
Actually, at this point, we'll open it up to everyone. So, Chris, if you want to come up.
All right.
Yes, sir.
Christopher Armature, 331 Woodland Way. I know a number of you, some of you I don't know. I'm also a Clemson native. Clemson did not have my major, so I did not go to school here, and I'm still a little salty about that. I hope to provide a little bit of perspective. Of course, I guess that's what we're all trying to do here. And the first comment is, thank you for a thankless job. I know what you're being asked to do is uncomfortable and not pleasant, but somebody in the community has to do it, so I appreciate that. Dense housing does not solve traffic issues, and sometimes I hear that and I hear about parking spaces. I actually think our traffic is no worse than it was when I moved back here in 2016. That's an anecdotal perspective of things. The students are going to come and they're going to find a way to get here. I don't think we should be catering to their needs. This is about money. And no disrespect for you individuals representing the developers, they want to make their money. We want to have some benefit, which probably is going to be economic to the city out of this, but it cannot come at the expense of the quality of life within the community. I don't see how this development, certainly as it's planned. I know we're not supposed to ask questions, but I would like a clarification. Planned development allows exceptions to be made for how the lots are zoned currently. Is that correct? Do I understand that correctly? Yes, okay.
So, yeah.
So the real question is this.
We try not to, Chris, we just try not to go back.
I understand.
Yep.
So the real question is whether it be a planned development. My concern is the neighborhood creep. It's very real and it's happening everywhere. I thought Bob's point, you don't want to repeat, was insightful. My concern is the precedent. Precedent that's set here, then the next people that come along, we put our city attorney in a bad position because they say, well, client X did this. So my thought is if you are going to consider any variances, any acceptances, any changes to what it already is the legitimate ordinances in place. I'm big on property owner rights. If there's an ordinance, the youth center, when I was running for the city council, I was so upset about the youth center because I think it is the biggest eyesore of questionable things. I came to find out, oh, well, the height ordinance and all those things were put in place in 1974. So I no longer had any animosity towards the council members because I realized they were dealt a horrible hand. They couldn't deal with it. To my knowledge, we've put a lot of language in place to improve the situations. I don't want us giving up the farm when we've worked so hard to throttle that growth to be reasonable. Check my notes. Economic viability, we hold the cards here. They want us to do something for them that they can't do without and I mean the citizens as well as you guys. If you're going to consider an exception, put teeth in it. Not 150 parking spaces. Have them donate 50% of the retail space for the city to use as it sees fit. Have them fund not a rail line, but a permanent transit system for 10 years that'll take students up and down College Avenue so that some of the development will be pushed out. I remember I came to one of the first meetings for Dockside. And I had to laugh, I apologize. I had to laugh when I saw these gentlemen put up, if you could put them up, Andy, are you doing the slideshows? Whoever was doing it, can you put up their presentation? I had to laugh because the people who were doing Dockside, they said their inspiration was the Coronado Hotel in San Diego. So if any of you have seen that, okay? If you'll cycle through these, I want to make just a point or two. It echoes the thing about the trees. They show the, keep going, they show the, go back one. Now, what I want you to focus on is the canopy, the tree canopy that we're going to use. Microclimate and neighborhood noise has an enormous impact from the tree canopy. All of that gray, all that blue, that's trees right now, basically. They're just a couple of structures there, okay? This is not a good idea.
15 seconds.
15 seconds.
Yes, sir.
Let me see if I had one other point I wanted to make. I don't want a Kiwi Trail lawsuit. So whatever the property owners, the ordinances in place, uphold them. Uphold them, I get that. But don't give them anything without making it hurt on their side of the equation.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. It's open. It's wide open. Please just make sure you sign in and state your name and your resident.
When I'm done, when somebody else comes up there.
I thought I only had 2 minutes, so there.
You have 5 minutes, yes, ma'am.
I'm Martha Irvin, and I live at 102 Riggs Drive. The Clemson Next White Paper had specifically indicates that the Riggs Road not be included in high-density student housing. Residential housing was suggested for this area, not student housing. The Clemson Next White Paper also indicated that 1,500 student beds in downtown, this is after Bixby, because Bixby was already being built, should be enough student housing in downtown Clemson. The city has reached that. The current developer's proposal now includes buildings on College Avenue, but also has plans to purchase a connecting residential property to literally build into the Cold Springs subdivision, specifically to construct something bigger, higher, denser. The 6-story parking deck in our backyard, nothing in between our house and then the 6-story. Several past members of the city council now say that it should never have been done, abutting right up to a resident. And now it's too late. It's not just the massive height. The neighbors across the street can also hear the conversations going on in the parking deck because of all the echoing. And car alarms go off a lot more often than you would think, mostly after midnight. Chapters 4 and 5 of the drafted comprehensive plan, the presenter emphasized the city needs to take care of downtown neighborhoods as well as the commercial development in downtown Clemson. They also emphasized that there must be more than just student housing in the downtown area. I believe if the City Council approves this high-rise, high-density student housing in the Cold Springs subdivision, then the City of Clemson City Council is effectively surrendering, compromising, yielding, giving up the downtown City of Clemson to part-time students and the university. You cannot have city staff that are so pro-development that they lose sight of the residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Fran McGuire from 103 Rippleview Drive. And I actually was going to speak later, but I decided to speak now. So I had a friend who had a friend, and this friend went shopping for trucks. And he got hooked up with a salesman who convinced him he needed all these great bells and whistles for his truck. And he bought it because he needed bells and whistles. And he drove it home only to find out the truck didn't fit in his garage. He made a mistake of not keeping the main thing, the number one question: will this vehicle fit with what I have? I think that's the question for tonight. Will this plan fit with Clemson? Doesn't matter about the bells and whistles. Doesn't matter how many parking spaces. Doesn't matter how much space. If it doesn't fit, those are baubles. Those are 24 pieces of jewelry, the hypothetical selling of Manhattan. It doesn't matter. I've sat on this group, I've sat on the planning commission. I think the hardest thing to do was keep focused on the thing that matters the most. And I think everybody who spoke tonight agrees. Not a good plan, not a bad plan, not a good fit. And by voting on this, it starts a process, or continues a process, of not keeping the main question the main question. Does this fit for the city of Clemson? And I don't live in this neighborhood. I live in Rippleview Drive, away from this neighborhood. But I know, you know, every neighborhood in Clemson is everybody else's neighborhood in Clemson. Because if it happens here, it affects here. So please, this is not just a local issue. This is the 7 square miles of Clemson. Everybody should be able to answer the right question, or the same question, the right way. That building is a good fit with what I think we need in the community of Clemson. And it's a good fit for what I need to keep attached and satisfied that we have the best Clemson we could be. Not the bells, not the whistles. Does this fit in our garage?
Thank you. Other comments?
Not by 3 minutes.
That would be a city council. You can ask city council. So he's requesting 3 more minutes.
Are there anybody else who would like to speak?
Would anybody else like to speak? That's what Lillian just said.
Make sure everybody else gets her.
Yeah, there we go. While he's signing in, I just wanted to greatly, and I'm just speaking from my own heart, appreciate everybody's professionalism, everybody when they're sharing their comments, and also re-emphasizing repeated comments. I appreciate it very much. So thank you very much.
My name is Rupert McGinty, 206 North Clemson Avenue. One comment I had about this project, it's not just this project. We are in a building boom right now. you look around, we're in a building boom. If you had applied it on the graph, it'd be called exponential. And if you just add up the numbers, I'm an engineer, so I like numbers, so I like to talk about numbers. And if you add up the numbers of student housing being built in this area, if you look at Varsity 3, if you look at the Hub, if you look at the Moda, Paul's Diner, and also I think that the Dough 2 project, right? When is that going to be built? I'm not sure, but it's on the schedule, I believe. Is that correct? So if you add up these numbers before you even add in 398, you're looking at 4,500, close to 5,000 beds. Okay, so roughly just 5,000 for the math, roughly. And if you, here at Clemson, the university says we want to grow at 2.5% a year, more or less, give or take. Okay, 2.5%. 2.5% times 28,000 students, and including graduates, you're looking at roughly 500, because some people come and go, drop out, roughly 500. Okay, so if you divide 5,000 beds by 500 per year, 500 students, growth of the population, the university, and that's what's driving everything here. It's the growth of the university's student population. So if you look at what we have before we had 398, if you look at what we got under construction, it's 5,000 beds divided by 500 people coming in additionally every year to Clemson University. What is that? How many years is that? Well, 5,000 divided by 500, we're building 10 years. We're building out 10 years before we even get to 398. So mathematically, I look at this, and I think that we have to keep in scope not only these great issues that were brought up, but the issue of growth and how far out do you want to build that's reasonable. And my concern is that the economy right now in America is being driven by high tech predominantly. And it's being driven by what in high tech? It's being driven by the AI bubble, the boom. Because people know to invest in AI because they know that AI can do what? AI, well, maybe it cures cancer, but it's also going to replace a lot of jobs. So imagine you're a student coming into Clemson, and most students I talk to, by the way, I know a lot of students, I live right in the heart of the city, and they say, I've got 60 grand in debt. Some have 100 grand in debt. Okay, so imagine here comes Elon Musk, Bill Gates, Anthropic CEO, all these guys are saying, yes, AI is going to take jobs. So imagine you're a student and you read the news and says your job may be done by AI after you graduate from Clemson. So here we are. What I'm saying, what I'm trying to set the stage for is we're building out 10 years, not realizing there's a fundamental change in American technology happening right now. And all these Bill Gates, Musk, and all these guys, head of Google, Eric Schmidt, former head of Google, they're saying it's going to take jobs. How can we not listen to these guys that are super billionaires running, basically, have a lot of control of this planet? It's going to happen. It's going to be like when the guys driving the yellow cab in New York City and they pay $150,000 for their gold medallion. Okay, now I've got my gold medallion. I'm going to drive around and pick up and get, and all of a sudden here comes Uber. Hey, wait a minute, I paid $150,000 for my gold medallion. I've got the yellow cab. Sorry, man. It's capitalism. You've just lost your job and you're 150 grand. You are being replaced by something else. And this is real, I'm not joking. This is serious stuff because Clemson is near and dear to my heart. My grandfather came here in 1925.
15
Worked for President
seconds.
Sykes.
15 seconds.
I'm done. I'm just saying that's my point.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other comments? It's up to City Council for additional 3 minutes. Hodges, yes, sir.
If it's not repeating of just one.
Okay, I have been, no, come on up. Yes, sir. As long as it's not repeating any of the comments. I've been told that.
Okay.
Well, I didn't mean, I agree. So I agree with your comment.
Sorry, Mr. Hodges.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I agree with your comment.
The one thing I learned from planning commission was the word purview. Purview is not in the purview of the planning commission, but we all know water rolls downhill. And the two creeks that they're considering going through, one is a preserved stream for, it's preserved right now until they mess it up. That is a stormwater drain for the entire Riggs Drive, Pool Lane, Martin Street. Comes out, one of them comes out of Douthit Hills through Daniel Square, through 99, what is 99? Good grief. Anyway, it drains through two major apartment complexes, a lot of asphalt. They plan to pipe a 60-inch pipe from behind roughly 104 Riggs Drive into the culvert where my creek comes out under Riggs Drive. As the presenter told you at the planning commission, the city spent $460,000 fixing my culvert. If y'all remember 2013, we had 28 inches of rain in 10 days here. It cost $250,000 damage to botanical gardens. My yard, my garage, 98 College Avenue, 102 were all underwater. Lake Hartwell is like 3 feet above full pool. There was no place for the water to go, so it spread. The water spread when it can't go somewhere. I'm concerned if they're going to put a 60-inch pipe flowing right into where my pipe comes out on the Riggs Drive. It's going to erode Riggs Drive. Yeah, I've seen what the 36-inch comes into from my neighbor's yard into my yard. It's like a jet engine coming at you. High pressure water eats up anything it touches. Water has to spread. And if you want to sit on the deck, they propose overlooking the creek, you may get washed away. I'm just saying this is our stormwater exit. And if it's channelized, it's put in pipes, it's got to go somewhere. I'm concerned about the Riggs Drive. I'm concerned that it's going to backwash into my yard if enough water comes in there, 60-inch. Also, there's a pipe coming down from Youth Center. Another 42-inch pipe is coming down from there. So there's a lot of water going to be trying to force into this little preserved creek, and it's going to have to spread somewhere. Mary Hawk gave us a very good introduction to storm damage, floodwater damage at one of the planning commissions. So anyway, that is my concern. In 2013,
15
Mayor
seconds.
Cook
Yes, sir.
and Administrator Cotton stood at the guardrail overlooking my creek and said, we need to fix this. Well, say 10 years, 11 years later, we finally got it fixed. So progress does happen, but the water has got to go somewhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you. Any other comments? Okay. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
My name's Chevy Wright. I live at Pool Lane. It's been there for a long time.
I love my neighborhood. I came here as a college student, met my husband, have stayed here. My kids grow up and run around in these creeks. And I'm concerned about safety. I'm concerned every time my son walks to his best friend's house on Riggs, and I have to make sure that he texts me immediately. The traffic has gotten exponentially more dangerous. I have a neighbor in the room who went and chased after a student who flipped me off and almost hit me off the road when I was walking with my dog. I walk my streets daily. And I'm just slightly concerned about the fabric of the neighborhood. I've lost neighbors who have moved out of Clemson, who were lifelong Clemson residents, who have given up. They went to Greenville. They wanted something different because they felt like their voice wasn't heard. And when I talk to my neighbors, I feel like we're all in this sense of like dejection, like we don't think we matter anymore. A lot of you ran on protecting our neighborhoods, and there were more people who wanted these jobs and you guys got the position. So please listen to us, because it sucks to feel like as a resident, we're not heard, we're not cared about, and yet the developers are. I work at the university, I like interacting with the students, and I loved where I lived. And now there's the caveat, and I see the future, and the future is a giant high-rise butting up into my neighborhood and butting up to where my kids play in the creek. And I just don't like the change. And we all know those kids are gonna be driving more through those neighborhoods. I don't care if the exit's on College Avenue, you're gonna take a right, then you're gonna take another right, then you're gonna go back around, come out, bust by the president's house. And it's untenable. These are small streets. They don't stop at stop signs. It is getting dangerous. And I don't know how we fix that, but I know that we don't need development encroaching, taking over our house. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? All right, if not, I will close out this public hearing. It is 7:20 right now. Everybody needs probably a break.
Yes.
So I will, we'll reconvene at 7:25, so.
No, 7:30.
7:30, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, 7:30, yes, yes. right, good evening. For the ones that are coming in now, good evening. I hope you had a good weekend. And I already said, other than the game itself, obviously from Saturday night. I call this regular city council meeting to order. It is September 15th, 2025. We'll start out with the invocation and pledge with Councilmember Evans.
If you would like, please join me in prayer. Lord, I just want to thank you for this wonderful city we call Clemson and we call home. Thank you for the changes in seasons as you bless us with the beautiful flowers in the spring and Lake Hartwell in the summer. And you will soon be changing the leaves for our enjoyment here shortly. Lord, just also help us to remember that life is precious, very precious, Lord. And even though we don't agree on everything, that we do not lend ourselves to violence to settle those disagreements, Lord. I thank you for the comments that we heard earlier. And Lord, thank you for the freedom to be able to do that. Just bless this time, bless the workers that work here, and bless those of us on council and the mayor. And all these things I ask, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. You may be seated. Chief comes right on up. Appreciate you doing this, and we'll turn it over to you, Chief. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. Trinity Gamble, come up, please. We have another swearing in of a new officer. As she's walking up, I will introduce her. This is Trinity Gamble. She was born in Seneca, South Carolina, and raised in Pelzer. She's a graduate from Greenville Tech College with a criminal justice degree, and she chose to pursue this this degree and her chosen law enforcement to make a positive community. Positive impact community. I apologize. I'm summarizing what she has here and I'm getting twisted. She's always wanted to be a police officer since she was a kid. Now, I don't know who ticked her off when she was younger, but hopefully they don't let it Clemson. Outside of work, she enjoys spending time with her son Channing, who's 6, her family members, her mom Tamaron, and stepdad Frederick, who is here. But she is no stranger. I said she was born in Seneca, but she spent a number of years working at different establishments here in Clemson. And so I know some business owners that know her personally. And before she even interviewed, I was getting phone calls going, that's a good one, that's a good one, you need to hire that one. So I think we made a good choice, and she's enjoying it so far. She's been cut solo. So if you come over here, I'll swear you in. All right, just raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that you're duly qualified according to the Constitution of this state to exercise the duties of the office to which you've been appointed, and that you will, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties thereof and preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of this state and of the United States, so help you God? Okay, put your hand down. We'll now go over our law enforcement code of ethics that you will agree to abide by. Okay, right? Okay, good. As a sworn officer, your fundamental duty is to serve the community by safeguarding lives and property against threats that could take advantage of or harm members of my community or otherwise impact peace and order. I will uphold the Constitution and honor the rights of all to life, liberty, equality, and justice. I will never employ unnecessary force, and I will respect the privacy of people and communicate. They changed this, so I'm going through it. I will respect the privacy of people and communities that I serve, and I will fully obey the laws that I have sworn to enforce. I will live by example, remembering that my character and conduct on duty and off duty directly influence the legitimacy of the policing profession. I will exercise self-restraint and maintain courageous calm in the face of danger, scorn, and ridicule, and be consistently mindful of the welfare of others as well as my own well-being. I will never act officiously or permit bias or personal gain to influence my decisions. I will strive to protect the vulnerable from harm. If this fails, I will seek to identify and apprehend offenders professionally and appropriately, holding them to account. I will not solicit or accept any gifts, bribes, or anything of value from any person or entity that may create a perception of benefit or influence my performance as a public servant. I recognize my shield of office as a symbol of public faith, and I will accept it as a public trust to be held so long as I am true to the ethics of police service. I will not engage in or condone any acts of corruption, take advantage of circumstances for personal gain, or accept gratuities, and I will promise to intervene when met with any unjustifiable acts by members of my profession. I will cooperate with all legal authorized agencies and their representatives in the pursuit of justice. I know that I alone am responsible for my own professional performance and conduct, and will take every reasonable opportunity to enhance improve my level of knowledge and competence. I will constantly strive to achieve these principles, dedicating myself to my chosen profession, policing. Which you agree with, right? Good. All right, pictures. So we'll get pictures of council first, and then we'll get the family members up here.
Yeah, congratulations. Welcome. Yeah.
Tall people in the back.
Yes. They know their places.
Crouch in.
Look at Bree.
Who? Oh. Family? It's Channing, right? Channing, you want to sit up front? Yep. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thank you.
Congratulations, family. I've already told Lakin, yes, you all said the same thing. You're more than welcome to stay, but we certainly understand. So thank you for being here. We appreciate it. Congratulations again. Just gives me back. Thank you, Chief. Appreciate it. All right, next, before public session, I'm going to ask Councilmember Jones, he's going to read a statement, if you don't mind. Yes, sir.
So the City of Clemson is committed to building positive and productive relationships with the public. We recognize that discussions brought before City Council and staff can sometimes be emotionally charged, and we are dedicated to providing a space where all citizens can voice their concerns with grace and dignity. We, as City Council members and staff, strive to uphold the highest standards of professionalism and are committed to treating everyone we interact with respectfully. In return, we ask the public to extend us the same courtesy. We have recently observed an increase in disrespectful and harassing behavior directed at city staff and elected officials, which undermines our community and the democratic process. This type of behavior will no longer be tolerated in here. Constructive criticism and sharing of opinions are absolutely vital to the democratic process. This is what allows for deliberation compromise, and collective decision-making. However, this process can break down when views are expressed inappropriately. Therefore, we will be strictly enforcing the rules for public forums moving forward. Please ensure you are familiar with the following guidelines. You must be speaking for yourself. Your comments should address issues over which the City Council has direct control. Rude, defamatory, or harassing statements will not be permitted. While we cannot enforce decorum in conversations outside of council chambers, we encourage you to actively seek out diverse political perspectives. Online communities often foster like-minded views, which can sometimes lead to misinformed beliefs and inappropriate expressions. If such dialogue occurs on our official platforms, we will promote respectful communication by providing viewpoint-neutral facts on the issue. Our shared purpose is to work collaboratively to improve our city. We encourage you to identify problems and offer constructive suggestions so that we can find effective solutions together. By working with mutual respect, we can achieve far more as a city.
Thank you. Thank you. Next, we'll turn it over to public session. Mayor Pro Tem.
Yes, sir. We are going to open the floor for public session now. This is a time for the public to be heard on any item that's not already on the agenda. Please note that if you did want to speak on something that's on the agenda tonight, we will make sure you have that time when we reach that item. But for now, I will open the floor to the public. Did we have any sign-ups, Jeremiah?
Yeah, we have one, Brownie is the.
Perfect. Yes, sir.
Okay, most of you know me, I guess, and for those who don't, everybody calls me Brownie. My government name is Michael. So anyway, and I've worked for the city, total now, 2 different stints for 32 years. But I'm here to talk about the pickleball court. And I understand, because I have worked for the city for 32 years, that a lot of times it's, trial and error. And this pickleball court got put in my backyard. And at night, 10 o'clock, whatever, when the lawnmowers are quit running, planes are quit flying over, the cars are quit going by, 32 people down there playing pickleball, it's loud. I can sit in my house with the TV on, air conditioner running, doors closed, pop, 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 pop. I can't go outside and grill, I can't, do nothing. As far as, and the hours, the park's open from 6 to 6 to 11. The pickleball, I think it should be more 8 to 9, or even 8 to 10. But 11 o'clock, my mama lives there, I got 2 neighbors that's bumping their nights. And I went down there to talk to Mr. Ranger the other day about coming to a council meeting with me, but I figured I'd try it by myself first. But I went down there, him and his wife can't even sit on their porch no more because that pickleball court's from here to that sidewalk right there at the flags from his front porch. I just don't feel like there's that much research put into this pickleball court. But the pickleball court's there now. So now we've got to figure out something to do to solve the problem. We're talking about signage. Well, them college students, now since the college students has got back here, it has really picked up, They walk right by 2 signs, it says the hours. But it ain't on the gate walking in there. They got to stumble into it, and that's what you got to make it be for them. And we're talking about putting signs up so the police department can find them. Now, I've been told to call. I've called so many times, been to dispatchers on first name basis. When I call, yes sir, I'll send them, because they know, because I go by there at 11 o'clock every night, if I ain't done in bed. But, as far as in the morning, I'm at the shop at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, because it's cold what route I run. But I am at the shop no later than 6, so in the morning it really don't bother me. But if we put the hours on that gate, or they gotta walk through it, it'll be up to them to enforce it, to write the tickets, and you go have to write the tickets, because if you don't, they don't care. They got mom and daddy's money anyway. They don't care. But, and I appreciate what the police department's doing, because every time I've called, they send them out there. And Labor Day weekend,
That Sunday night, I went downtown and watched Miami, Notre Dame, because I'm a big sport fan. Game's over 12:30. At 1 o'clock, I go to the pickleball court. There's 20 people playing pickleball. It's 1:30 Monday morning. And I know we're not gonna move the pickleball court, but the only thing else I figure is the panels.
Time.
Okay. All right, well, just want to say thank y'all, and I appreciate it. I just want to tell you that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Brad.
Sir.
Are there any other people that wanted to speak, Jeremiah?
Everybody else that signed up is regarding the 398 project.
Great, okay, if there's comments about 398, we'll provide.
Is it something besides the 398? Is it something besides the 398 project?
Yeah, no, it's not on that project.
Okay.
Okay, yes, sir.
But I just signed up to it. It doesn't matter.
Come on up.
So I'm still Fran McGuire, that has not changed. And I'm actually with a constructive suggestion. It's good timing. I think the meeting before this one where I also signed up should never have happened. I sent you a blog about a week or maybe longer, suggesting that I think that I'm asking you, I'm going to read this, explore the possibility of creating a process that includes input from residents and inform residents before anything else happens when there's a request for a zoning change like there was tonight. I think the first step in the process should be citizen input and citizen knowledge based on what you can tell them. For instance, I have no idea if 100 parking spaces is a need or a good deal. I would have been, my understanding that would have been a lot better had there been previously opportunities. So I suggested, and this is up to you, that my suggestion would be that a committee would be formed of residents, maybe members of this group, maybe other city people, for two purposes, a two-way communication. One, that residents early in the process can get the full picture and all the information. So in other words, does that really benefit us to have 50 parking spaces? Is there really going to be issues with the stream before anything else? Because what's happening now is it's called the sunk cost philosophy, the sunk cost, which basically means once people invest in something, they're likely to keep investing in it because they've done that. Once these folks have spent tons of money on doing this, and you spent tons of time with them, sunk cost basically says you're committed because you spent so much on that already. So I'm suggesting to avoid anyone getting too involved, that before the process begins, that's the time for citizen input, but also for citizen education. And that's done, my thought would be a committee. I'm urging you, hoping you will at least consider the possibility of restructuring the process, starting with citizen involvement, a formal committee, that their report would move through the system with everything else as it goes to the planning commission, as it comes back to you. But much of what was said tonight should have been addressed before it became an issue, because it didn't become an issue until after a plan was done. John, Fulmer may not remember this, but at one point you did this. It didn't turn out real well, but we had a meeting I think the meeting with the fire station that I believe you sponsored, where the developers came early in the process, tell me if I'm wrong on this, John, not late, and the discussion ensued before there was a lot of costs involved by anyone, and it was a two-way interaction. I learned, the citizens learned what was going on, but they also got to speak and share their problems and their concerns beforehand. So I'm urging you to please at least consider, it sounds like a dog, please consider putting together a group, a formal group that will in fact look at things first in the process, not last in the process.
Thank you very much. Additional public comments? Okay, I'll turn it back over to you, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Next is the possible approval of minutes from September 2nd, 2025. Would somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Next, we'll move into reports and discussion. Just a reminder, it's a 2-minute limit per speaker. First, it's to discuss the proposed planned development of 398. Nathan, would you like to come up and So any updates? I'm looking at you. I mean, you have your name on here, so that's why I was like.
This is really your time.
Okay, all right. Open it up.
Great, okay, I'll go first.
Yep.
I have questions, if you guys don't mind. First, I wanted to ask, were you approached to develop this part? Yeah, you're welcome to come up to the, yeah. Were you approached by the property owner to develop this parcel, or did you approach them? How did this come to fruition?
We approached them. We were looking for sites and we
Okay. Also wanted to just put it on the record, have you guys, and bear with me on this one, offered anybody in this room money to vote a certain way whenever we get to that point?
No.
Great, just wanted to make sure that we're all on the same page there. One of the public comments brought up a really great point about students cannot exist downtown right now, the way that Clemson is built, because they can't get groceries, they can't find a job downtown. So they are required to exist in our town to use their cars. I think if you are looking for something to go in that bottom level, I know you're gonna have the floor, the base floor is gonna have a large retail space that it doesn't sound like there's a plan for. Highly recommend pushing a grocery, a bodega, a dry goods, something like that. I think that resident was really onto something with that idea to eliminate at least 1 or 2 trips a week for the students. Also, you know, folks from other developments could walk there for dry goods, groceries, ready to eat things. I thought that I had a unique idea when I pitched that to staff, and I'm really glad that somebody else thought of it. So I think that would be a priority for any development in town moving forward. Also wanted to point out that we do have a growth in Clemson of non-student residents. And while this is pitched really to focus on student residents, I would love to see more of a focus. I was a little disappointed to see that townhome strip gone, because I think that was something that non-student residents could have been attracted to for a full-time residency outside of the larger unit. So I'd like to see a shift in thinking when it comes to this project to instead focus on maybe some year-round residents that are going to give you 12 months of, I mean, you'll get 12 months of rent out of students, but 12 months of heads and beds rented by the home instead of by the bedroom. So that's my feedback.
I have a question. Why Clemson?
Why Clemson?
Beside Dabo economics?
It's a big one.
Well, I mean, I'm an economist, and so, I mean, what I mean by Dabo economics is there's been a large, you know, our little secret has gotten out since 2015, and the whole country in the southeast is exploding. I mean, our state's one of the, I think, lead the building or housing permits in the country. So it's not just Clemson that's growing, it's the whole state. But I'm just, you know, Miss, is it Smith? No, Scott,
I got married
sorry.
recently, so I
She
forget.
got, Miss Scott asked about if you approached the owner or if the owner approached you. So I'm just curious why Clemson?
Yeah. So Clemson, you know, top university in the States, right? And it attracts a lot of students from all over the States and even the world. The university is growing. There is need for housing. Well, some people from the neighborhood may say that it's not growing at a certain rate. There's already a deficit, so we're trying to fill in the deficit and trying to respond to that growth in the university.
If I could add a little color to that, Brittany Sanders.
Do you mind coming up here
Yes,
so
please.
the microphone will pick up for people on the YouTube? Thank you.
Brittany Sanders with LV Collective. Great to meet you all. Thank you. I represent both the investments and the development side, so that's kind of why I want to come up here as well. So we have a pretty detailed ranking system that we use across the country to target different universities and states. It's not just about the university. We are long-term holders. We're looking to build a portfolio, so where we go and the communities we develop in and the health of the state really matter because we're not in it to develop and then sell. We want to be here for quite some time. So that's why the ranking is, of course, the health of the school. Are they growing? Is there an oversupply? Our read here is there's not, even with the additional housing that's coming. And above and beyond that, we look at the state. How do they view the university? How does the community view the university? If there's tension, we don't necessarily want to develop into that because we are a byproduct of the ramifications of that tension. So we've identified a lot of positives, not just with the university, but within the community, your leadership in the state as well.
Thank you.
So you guys are looking for long-term hold on the entire facility?
That's the idea. One thing I could add on that the smaller parcel is only 113 beds. We are more of the, I don't like the word commercial, but there are difference between a 100-bed development and a 700-bed development. We're more institutional, right? That smaller parcel is not going to be an institutional owner on its own. So we are looking to retain ownership of both.
Okay. Other question I would have would be about the coffee shop. It sounds like that's something you do in all of your buildings. Is that part of the pro forma?
That's correct. So the coffee shop offers both a retail that's open day one, it's open to everyone. It really attracts people into the building. It adds life to the lobby and the coffee shop. So the coffee shops are open to the lobby, really creates an active frontage, and we really want to see this in all of our development. So we do have it for all of our developments.
Okay. I appreciate the early activation, but I like to see individual and small business promoted. So I'm not thrilled with if it's run as an amenity. Does that make sense?
Understood. I mean, there's still another 7,000 square feet of retail that will be targeted for local.
But that coffee shop will be run like an individual business, or that'll be run like a hotel kind of amenity where you're providing just to the captive audience?
It's a separate business. It is connected to the lobby, so it opens up into the lobby. It shuts down at certain hours while the building keeps open. It has its own lease, and it's run separately.
Okay.
How would you respond to one of our citizens who would say that we are built out, or we will be built out with a 10-year projected growth rate, and you're sitting here thinking about coming close to 800 beds? I mean, how would you fit with that and with what you're thinking? I mean, would you seriously building 800 more beds in a community where this particular person would say there's no need because there are already that many beds scheduled out for the next 10 years?
That's right. So that wasn't taken into consideration, the deficit that already exists, right? So there still needs to be filled, we still need to fill in that deficit. And then on top of that, there's growth that we're trying to fill in as well. So this project is scheduled right now for a 2028 delivery. So by that time, we definitely see the demand there for the development.
So your finance person, she's going to get us a good. So are you making a similar decision based on the numbers? Because you guys are the ones that are in the money.
That's exactly right. So what Mauricio said is very much right. I will say with the type of curious, but it's not necessarily that there's a gap. We're creating a need that doesn't necessarily exist today. There's not many purpose-built, intentionally designed student housing projects in the downtown area. So we actually think that there's a lot of interest in students in living along College Avenue in a purpose-built development. Like, we are very focused on architecture and the amenities and the pedestrian experience, which is why we're committed to extending that up to Keith Street. So we think we're creating a different experience that pulls the students into the downtown area, which actually opens up some of the students that are living kind of further out or in the communities. We're hopeful to take some of those students as well to create a new experience for them.
You may not want to share it, but how big is your bed?
How big is the?
How big is your investment? Essentially, how big is your bet on this?
In terms of what's the total project cost, or?
So how much, are you betting $100 million or $150 million?
A typical institutional project, yes, is gonna be north of $100 million.
Okay, so that's your bet?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
My question is the rationale for the 400 building in 398. So just help me understand a little bit more. If you're building, what, and you said it's mostly commercial and it may not have a permit? I mean, the rationale, why are we doing 400 and not just 398?
Are you asking this why two pieces?
Yes.
So the land that we got the seller was selling all the land together, so there was no option to split it. So we came up with a design that included it. The change from townhomes into the building you see now was a response to planning commission, response to the neighborhood as a step down on rigs and relocating some of that density into the north parcel.
And switching it from more of an apartment, from townhomes to more of apartment style. What was that rationale?
That happened when we met with planning commission, the height along the back was a concern, right? So Mohammed showed some of these step downs in those renderings, right? It was 2 stories along the back. It was a big step back. A lot of beds were removed there, and so we have relocated them to the north parcel. There was some concern that there is slightly more density now, the overall project, and that is due to cost of construction. When you're building a townhome, it's a very low cost of construction. When you're going to a multifamily development, the cost of constructions go up. So to offset that, we had to increase the density slightly.
And the only other question is, because I know we talked about deficit, and you even mentioned that it's not necessarily deficit right now, but planning out. But there also is articles that are being discussed that we are probably going to see a decrease in student enrollment across the country, simply because of we're at this place now where the number of children being born or people not having children is not, we've met that height, and so now we may start to see a decline. So to John Fulmer's question, I guess my question is, how do we know for sure with your numbers that you're talking about that this is going to be something that we may not pool people, but we still may have a, not necessarily deficit, but empty space?
Yeah.
Trying to get people to sign up for those buildings.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt. I do want to clarify that we do think there is a deficit and there will remain a deficit. We just think that in addition to that, there are people seeking out a specific experience in the downtown area. But the point you bring up is a really great one, and one that we debate internally quite a bit, and debate's not necessarily the right word. There's a lot of education with our capital partners, especially as new capital partners enter the space. And what you're seeing happening is not necessarily a broad dip in students attending college across every university. What's happening is a consolidation. You're seeing these smaller institutions kind of lose a big amount of enrollment, whereas these strong universities, and that's why it's so important for us to pick the right university that's focused on their right kind of financial health and growth and leadership as well, and their integration into the community, because without the experience of the university, students are going to fall. That's really what most students are going to school for, right? It's not just an education, it's an experience. And when those universities don't provide that experience, enrollment is going to fall. I think the news stories you're hearing are absolutely right, but that is not a broad statement across every university. And I think Clemson is one of those ones that remains very strong because of their health and the community they're integrating into.
Chairwoman Smith, the president of Clemson University has said over and over again that we have received 65,000 to 70,000 applications for, let me finish, Ms. Smith, for 4,000 spots. So that's gonna have to be a big, 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 big drop of people not wanting to come to Clemson for there to be any kind of big notice. This is coming from the horse's mouth.
Well, but the other part you don't also understand sometimes is transfers, but you
Yeah.
also have those who may not stay.
Transfers
and then you have online.
and graduates.
So it could be a number of things.
Well, I'm gonna say this to both of you.
It could be a number of things.
And you, because you work for the university.
Yeah,
And if you guys are forecasting something different or seeing something different,
You better let us
owe
know.
it to us.
That's right.
I'm not forecasting
I'm not
anything
saying, I'm just saying, but if you guys are, I mean, when I'm over there, when I attend your meetings and all those types of things, and I don't know what's going on over there, but if you think that things aren't gonna be that way, then I think you owe it to us to tell us that.
Because that's what Mr. Clements has been saying, is that there's so many, 70,000 applicants
But I think
every year.
I think the question I have though is one of the reasons that we're considering this is what is the vision of the city and what is our purpose? And so are we building or doing this for the purpose of meeting a deficit? Is that our responsibility? Or are we trying to make sure that because you asked about non-students, so we want to be mindful of our entire population and not just focus so much on our students.
Right, and we don't want empty buildings.
And I don't want empty beds, that's correct.
I have a question kind of shifting towards process. Big if this were to move forward and you break ground, I have a lot of feedback from business owners, residents, that current construction, not your project, other projects, is very disruptive to day-to-day life, to their businesses, to their customers accessing their businesses, getting to their homes. What sort of planning process do you have for the build and making sure that you're working with our staff so that we do, ideally zero disruption to the business that would be next door and the folks that live behind?
Yeah. So at the moment, we do not have a GC identified yet for this project, so, and that would fall under their logistics plan. But we do hire top-tier GCs across the nation. I mean, if this gets approved, the GC building this would be top quality, and they would work with staff to assure that any requirements are being met.
I think the point that was brought up is it is a little frustrating that we are approving something or voting on something if we don't know what the process is. All we know is a finished product. And so I want to make sure that is in the back of your minds if this were to move forward, that our responsibility as a city is to all the people who have lived back there for a very long time, the business owner next door, the dentist upstairs, he literally can't have his building being shaken, So making sure that we are very, very in lockstep. Your general contractor is in lockstep, has Nathan's cell phone number, and also there's a responsibility on us to hold y'all accountable as well. We understand that, but that's also, I want to make sure that we emphasize the importance of that, so log that away.
I would like to see you guys provide us as a whole with information on how you plan on marketing the retail space and a specific pro forma on how you're going to run this coffee shop, how that's going to be set up, what kind of third party it is, how you expect that to operate. If it's something you do in a bunch of places, I'm sure it's pretty easy to get that to us.
Sure. In general, I mean, we do hire internally for the cafe, and a performer at this point probably it's not set up at the moment, but we can see what we can share on that.
But if you're doing that other places, you should have an operating schedule and operating information for that. And I would like to know, I'd like to see and share with the rest of staff, rest of council how you intend to market the retail space, what you're kind of looking for in there. You talked about putting grease traps in. Are they going to be restaurant bays only, or is it going to be mercantile? What is the interest level there? What are you planning on building out for them? How are you going to set that up for us?
So for the remaining of the retail, we want to keep it as flexible as possible. So that's why we put in the grease traps. That's why we put in the grease ducts, so that it opens the opportunity for F&B. If it's mercantile, then it's ready for that as well, right? On top of that, there's also the bond that the city passed not too long ago, so that would apply to this project. And I think we had it in the presentation. I think it equates to roughly $2 million or 2.1 maybe for the remaining retail. That can forget the timing on that, but that's in case we do not find the
Bond's our current solution for that, but that may change in the future. But I'm just interested in getting as much information on what you guys plan to do with that and send it over to us so we can see what the plans are there.
It is to our benefit as well to find retailers as soon as possible.
Yeah, and I'm not saying there's anything bad there. Just want to know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
Can you go back to talking about the added value opportunity? You talked about that this is purpose building. Can you describe more about that and how that benefits the city as well as the students who are going to, so how is this better than other things that are on college like MODA as far as you referenced a particular kind of design? Just give us more information about that.
Sure, I think the lens is definitely different for the student than it is for the city, but there's some overlap between it. For the student, it's really the amenity package and the overall quality of the building, the management of it, and just the long-term mentality of the build. And you get a very different living experience when you know you're going to see the same person every day than you are of you're going to build this and then the next day you will see someone else. So it's just a very different experience for the tenant. And also in terms of the interiors, we actually do our interiors in-house. So we really focus on we do a lot of research into the effect on the psychology of the tenant and how to make that space really beneficial to them so that they get the most out of their living experience while they're with us. And then from the city side, I think the landscape, the pedestrian landscape, not necessarily the creek. I think it's great, the setback of the creek, but I don't think you can set aside the setback and the improvement on what's already a great plan in terms of the widened streetscape with the bike lane. We've pushed our building back even further from that and kind of did the terrace landscape so that, to your point on the retail, you do enhance and you really want to bring someone in. It doesn't help us to have empty retail bays, not even from a pro forma standpoint. We all know the pro forma, the retail is a small portion of that. We need to rent the building. In order to rent the building, you need activity at the ground floor, right? So we've done things like creating those dining areas for those retail users that might be coming in, or just places to sit and enjoy the landscaping. So it's things like that. It's quality of the architecture. I do think I've been on countless hours of phone calls around the architecture of this building. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into making sure that not only what we present to you represents Clemson well, but it represents LV well as well. Our CEO is really focused on architecture and making a footprint in cities that he can be proud of.
Have you guys closed on the land yet?
We have not.
Trying to decide which one I want to ask. I have two, but I'll just do one. The pool. Where is there a pool?
Yes, it's in the rooftop of the parking deck.
It's on the roof? Okay. What could possibly go wrong with a pool on a roof?
It's pretty far
setback.
With the parking deck, which is, so the site plan does shows that it's on top of all concrete and parking, so it's not on top of any residential unit or anything.
No.
And
Okay.
on top of that, it's set back quite a bit,
So can you show me where, I'm sorry.
Yeah, there you
You don't have that presentation.
Oh, okay. Hey, I'm the oldest one. I can't see like I used to. Okay, so.
Someone on the laptop's gonna pull it up for you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to be a pain, but I'm just trying to see. So it's on top of the parking garage? And I'm sure there's fence, some kind of.
There's screening, but as you can see in the plan, it's behind, so it's not on top of the units, right? So it's behind, so you will not be able to see it from any vantage point on the street. Actually, in the renderings, it doesn't even show up because it's set back and it's 7 stories above. So you don't get to see it. From a noise perspective, this was raised on planning commission. We have added a wall to really reflect the sound and really try to
Towards college.
towards college, correct?
Okay.
Not affect the neighborhood.
Okay, I'm just thinking of 18-year-olds and a swimming pool.
Oh, yeah, no, it's not at the very edge of the building. There's about 30 feet of roof between the edge of the pool.
That's what, yes, sir. That's what I meant by what could possibly go wrong. Okay, now I see where it is. At one time, I had heard it was at the very top, and there wasn't going to be. Okay, thank you very much for indulging me.
You're dedicating 150 public parking spaces, and I think you're doing how many for the residents parking?
384, I believe.
So when it comes to the public parking spaces being, the students trying to use those, who's long-term in charge of policing that? Or is the public spaces totally separate from the student spaces? So they don't really, because there'll be students who won't have a parking place, who live there. So how do you make sure that those places stay for citizens?
Right. So the first 3 levels of the parking garage will be public parking spaces. So as you enter, you're going to enter into the public section of the garage. You would go down, go up to park, and then walk out. Once you hit the 3rd level, there's going to be a gate that then takes you into the residential portion of the garage. You can only access that with a fob if you're a resident. For the management side of things, that in the PD, we have added some stipulations to work on an agreement with staff separately, which we've started. That is under the works, and we'll be reviewing with staff here soon.
So you'll have some sort of a policing mechanism to present to us before we ever have to vote on this for those spots?
That's something we'll need to work to get together with staff.
I think that's pretty important for our citizens, because I think if you are going to put retail in there, people are going to want to go to it, and they don't want it to be full of residents. So if we could, that'd be great.
Jacob would be our
I just wanted to, if you guys have any clarification, because the current intention is that city would have total control, and that we would be policing it. If that's not something that you would want, because that's just how we do all the other decks, that's how we just, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
That's on me, sorry.
Oh, no.
Are there other collegiate or college towns that you all have built and that's gone well?
Well, I mean, all of them.
I knew that's what you were going to say.
Sorry.
Maybe the most recent ones that
Most recent ones, Athens, Georgia, opened not too long ago. We've got Columbus, Ohio, opened recently as well. We got in Austin, obviously, that's where we're based off. Atlanta. Got 2 in Atlanta.
What's the one in Athens called? If you don't mind.
Rambler. Yeah.
Where in Atlanta?
Midtown.
Midtown. Both projects.
Okay.
And where's that one located in Athens? Do you know?
It's
what
right
street?
on Broad.
It's right on Broad? Okay. Thank you.
With Georgia Tech, was it in partnership with Georgia Tech or a completely private project?
No, they're all private projects.
Comments? So I really haven't spoke. So I've heard a lot over the last 2 or 3 months, and I realize this property is going to be developed at some time. Where I'm having, and thank you to the Planning Commission, thank you to the Planning Department, thank you to everybody working together. I just feel like we can do better. And when I say that, I feel like we can have a scaled down version of this on the entry side to the residential community. And I've heard this numerous times, not only tonight, I've heard this, and I'm going ahead and throwing it out there because these are my thoughts. This is coming from my heart of what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing. And I really think we can do better. And I think if you scale down and, I don't know, I watched the planning commission meeting, so I saw a lot of this conversation going back and forth. But I'm having a hard time with it not being scaled down when you're entering the neighborhood and you're going right into that residential area. So I would kind of put it back in your court in that respect. I realize what I'm saying would compromise some of the community benefits that you're proposing, possibly. But that's what I would like to see. So, just gonna put it out there.
Well, scale down by how much? I mean, what are you talking about?
If scale down, I'm more thinking on as you're entering from Strode on the left-hand side, when y'all originally talking about 3 stories. That's specifically where I'm going.
We want to avoid the house from up situation with the pharmacy.
If we're putting our wish list out there.
Yeah.
We have so much construction happening right now in Clemson. And is there any way we could get some of it done that we already have started? Because I do think it's so, we're going to have more student housing downtown eventually, but we've got a lot of, cranes right now. Can we get some of our, and we can see better what it's going to look like when the things that are already approved are built. I think that's, people are a bit overwhelmed. I know it's crazy to ask y'all to slow down, but, timeline would be so nice if we could get a breather from some of the construction. I mean, the downtown citizens have really, really, so can you be on a timeline that's a longer trajectory? We're just putting the wish list out there.
Remind us again, your time frame to completion was 2028, okay.
Groundbreaking early next year. In respect to MODA, there will only be an overlap of a few months because MODA is expected to open in 2026, correct? Yeah. So it would only be a few months of overlap with MODA, very early stages of this project, which would not have a ton of traffic. In terms of delaying or extending the period, I mean, from an investment perspective, that's obviously very creative to the perform. Not something we could consider.
There are definitely other factors beyond the performance that make that a challenging request, as you can imagine.
The commitment to drive.
It was worth her asking.
Respectfully.
You don't get a yes unless you ask.
Other comments?
Can you tell our town doesn't like change?
I do have one other question. I'm trying to find it, but I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, the way I understand it, we are asking with this PD to rezone R20. Is that the 400 building or the 398?
No, so
Where's the
very top portion of the 398, the
triangle?
plan. Yeah.
That part right there where the trees are, correct?
Yeah, that is the R20
And that's
lot.
what you're saying you would like to see.
As you can see, the majority of that lot is being used for tree buffering and for buffering from the neighborhood. If we overlay where the house sits right now with this land, it really is where the trees are. So we would be demoing that house. We would be planting trees in its place. The building is only entering slightly in the backyard space.
Does the same property owner own that house that owns the 398 and 400?
No.
So I guess that's my question is, and I'm assuming this cannot happen unless we rezone that R20, R21, R12. That's the only way?
This development?
Yes.
Now it's planned now.
Okay. But it can't happen.
Completely different projects. Yeah.
Just a hypothetical.
Because 398 and 400 right now are commercial zone.
Well, no, I know that.
Right.
But what I'm saying is it could still be a different.
Correct, same page.
Yes, that's what I'm asking. Okay. That's what I'm asking.
Any other questions, comments? I will open it up to the public again. Remember, it's a 2-minute limit per speaker, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. You guys signed it? Okay. Thank you. All right, so since we do have the signed-in list, I'll stop from saying open yet, but it is still open to everybody. Nanda from 213 Charleston Egnerton, Iverson. Yes, ma'am.
Hey. Hi, good evening. How's everybody doing tonight on this happy Monday?
Doing well, thank you.
Long night, lots of information. I'm just here to just chat with y'all about the obvious, I guess. In light of recent events, I would like to ask that we dig deep within ourselves and remember what is truly important. Our faith is important. Our humanity is important. And dialogue, even if we disagree, is important. I think everybody will agree with that. At this time, I ask that you put any and all proposed student housing development talk on the back burner. I ask this because these proposed developments are to serve Clemson University students, and I'm sure you're aware that Clemson University is currently under scrutiny on serious levels, which could affect their enrollment. And I think, do y'all have this that I passed out earlier?
Yes, ma'am.
Some reasons are, our state legislation has contacted Clemson University's Board of Trustees with a directive to do the right thing. And I do believe they met at 2 o'clock this afternoon over at the conference center at the Mandarin about that, whatever their discussions were. Clemson University students and potential students have either pulled out or are changing their minds about coming to Clemson University. Now, I've had conversations with a lot of these kids because I drive Uber a couple hours a day, and I get a lot of passengers in my car, and we have conversations, and I've heard
15 seconds. 15 seconds. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so there's just too much uncertainty right now going on. So any need for additional student housing projects like 398 College, 201 Pine?
Okay, we need to wrap it up. We're staying consistent with everybody.
Can I just finish this last sentence?
I will give you the sentence. Yes, ma'am.
Varsity Club 3 and just put those on hold, other than the ones that are in production currently, the Hub, the MODA.
We have to stay consistent with everybody.
Okay.
And I've been doing that all night
So
long.
if I could just ask one thing that you all, since I couldn't finish, and I did practice this, I tried.
We have it. We have it. Yes,
You
ma'am.
have it, and if you have any questions, you know how to find me.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you. Thank you. Brownie, I know you already spoke, so I assume you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure. So Stephanie, on 103 Mountain View.
I just wanted to say that, as far as future PDs are concerned, I think a moratorium would be appropriate for the city. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't think Chris is here anymore. And I don't think Fran's here anymore, so I think he already spoke. And I kind of heard, just remember, public hearing's always 5 minutes, but during our regular city council agenda on reports and discussion and policy action, we do limit it to 2 minutes. So that's the reason why. So,
I did practice, I swore I did it.
you're good. We're good.
We have hard copy. Thanks.
We got the hard copy, so that gives additional information.
If you have any questions.
Yes, ma'am. Any other comments? Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We got the
That's
sheet.
it.
Holding on to it.
Sean Haney, 211 Riggs, just a couple of clarifications. To the townhome concept, that was by the time it came to Planning Commission, that was a misnomer. They were never actual townhomes. Those were apartments, studio and bedroom apartments. So wanted to clarify that. In terms of deficit, I'd be real interested in how we're defining that deficit. Is it that every Clemson University student must live within city limits? Or where's that deficit? Because my running joke is I have yet to run into a herd of homeless students. So I'd be interested to know how we're defining deficit there. And just to clarify, just so you have the actual numbers from President Clements, it's 65,000 applications for 4,900 to 5,000 slots. So that just helps inform that as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Rudy Powell, 105 Martin again. I just want to point out that the developers did state, as I mentioned earlier, that they hope to draw from existing apartment complexes away from the city of Clemson, which will result in empty apartments that are now existing. To address Ms. Scott's concern about the existing construction that's going on, you've allowed that contractor on the hub to close off QE Trail that's been closed off for almost a year now, which is a great inconvenience to local residents. I don't even know the name of the one across from the Bixby, but you've allowed a sidewalk to be closed off there. You've eliminated parking spots. You've eliminated one lane of traffic most of the time during the day. You cannot allow that to happen on this if you approve this complex, because that apartment complex will be open by then. Students are going to be walking up and down. If you allow that sidewalk to be closed, how are they going to get to campus? Take that into consideration, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir.
Any other comments?
Robert Lee, I live at 113 Preston Drive, Clemson. Just two things I'm wondering about. Is there this need for country club downtown? You know, a swimming pool on the roof. If we did away with a swimming pool on the roof, how much more living, reasonable living place would there be for students in need? And how much less would neighborhoods have to give up if we don't have swimming pools and all these luxury things? I read this interesting article today about, I can forward it to you, about there's this less demand now for these country club student things and more just utilitarian things. So as far as development in general and the concentration downtown, I think that's a good idea. I think it's less traffic, it's less sprawl, and this needs of concentrated downtown is generally a good idea. I'm not against that, but can we give up less neighborhood and not have a swimming pool? I mean, and one other thing while I have time, I was kind of amused, but also about the double speak, I guess I hear coming from the company, so I kind of lost some respect for them. This was intentional design as far as unintentional design, I don't know, it was kind of, and I'll use the word Diaz, I call that double speak now, so I'll be, not bad language, but it kind of means the same thing, if you get the idea. But I just heard a lot of double speak, and I'm glad that some hard questions are being asked, but I hope you ask more of us developers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob.
Any other comments? All right. If not, we'll move into our next item. We'll discuss from the PRAC Committee recommendations on the operating hours for the pickleball courts. Bill. Yes, sir. Thank you for your patience.
Good evening, all. Hopefully mine won't take place long. Thank you for this opportunity to share some thoughts with you regarding the pickleball courts at Nettles. It is the recommendation of the Pratt Committee that the hours of operation of the park in the city be consistent. Specifically, park operates from 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. daily. The Pratt Committee supports setting pickleball court hours as the 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Aligning with the park hours will help to avoid confusion for those using the park and the courts. I don't know after I hear Browning speak if that's going to help him out or not. I hope it does, but at least let's give a consistency on the times because of what the park is supposed to be open. That's about all I have to say. Unless y'all have some questions for me.
Questions for Bill?
What time does the noise ordinance kick in?
7 o'clock.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
The noise
She asked about the noise, the citywide noise ordinance. What time does that kick in? And that's 10 o'clock at night.
I think we said.
There's 10:30 actually. You were saying 10 o'clock?
I thought the park hours went to 11 o'clock.
No, noise.
Noise.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Maybe 10:30, I mean, 10,
Earlier than
10:30. It's earlier than 11.
Here comes Chief.
Oh, there we go.
So our noise ordinance sometimes gets oversimplified when we talk about the 10 o'clock hour. 10 o'clock hour is referring to noise within a residential area, and it raises the threshold, but the noise ordinance is in effect 24/7, depending on what kind of noise is being generated. So when we're talking about a residential area, the problem that we have in this particular area is Mr. Brownie and his neighbors do not live in the city. They live in Anderson County. So the noise is being generated within the city. Now, we could still potentially cite, but when we're doing distance measuring and those kind of things, it comes into play. I can say the noise ordinance does apply and can be applied, but then we talk about, okay, who do we enforce it against? Is it everybody who's playing at the time? Or how do we determine who we're going to cite and who we don't cite? So that's some of the complexities that come into the noise ordinance, but I just wanted to make sure that it doesn't get oversimplified. He is correct, 10 o'clock is the time, but that just raises the tolerance level within the residential.
But wouldn't it be even more complicated because if we allow the parks to stay open till 11?
That's an hour
Close the
after.
court.
Right,
Yeah.
but if we leave the courts open till 11, charging them with a noise ordinance if all they're doing is playing pickleball, that would create more problems because then we're saying to them, you're out here playing, but the parks are open, so now we give you
Yeah,
a
but
ticket for a
I don't
noise
think
ordinance.
legally it would cause a problem because the activity that's being allowed, if the park's staying open, so here's where we come into the problem with people sleeping in the parks and staying in the parks past a certain time.
No, I'm not referring to them.
But that's what I mean though, is if they're creating a disturbance, let's say it's 9 o'clock at night, it's before 10 o'clock, but they're creating such a noise that we're getting calls on, we can still enforce the noise ordinance, but the park is open.
Right, no,
It's
I'm
the activity that they're
I'm
engaged
talking about if
in.
they're legitimately playing tennis,
If
pickleball.
they're creating a noise, then they'll be in violation of the noise ordinance. The complexity is who do we enforce it against? Do we enforce it against just the two people playing on the court? That would probably be the most applicable because they're the ones creating the noise at the time. So, yeah, it just.
But that can apply at 12 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
If it reaches that threshold.
but it gotta reach a threshold.
It's
is what
gotta reach
you're
a
saying.
threshold,
Right,
yes.
but I'm just saying, if it doesn't reach that threshold, is what I'm asking.
If it doesn't reach that threshold, then it's not breaking the noise ordinance.
Okay, that's what I'm asking.
I have a very silly question. I think 11 o'clock at night is mighty late for a park to be open. I'm sorry, 11 o'clock is late. Sir, Mr. Browning, I hope you don't mind, but I'm just saying 11 o'clock is, people are still going to be playing, and even if it's enforced, it's going to take a few minutes. So we're looking 11:30, quarter to 12. I just think 11 o'clock is late anyway.
Ms. Evans, a few years ago, that was brought to the Pratt Committee about the hours for the park, and we have much discussion. and different inputs, the Pratt Committee decided that at that time, the hours should be between 6 and 11, which we brought to council. This has been several years ago. I brought to council, which they approved that. So I'm guessing that if you felt like we needed change, then the council needs to change that.
Right, that's.
So this actually, I know y'all done your research. What's South Cove? What do they do with their hours? South Cove over in Seneca with their pickleball courts?
I'm not sure.
Okay, we'll check into that.
I'm sure Mayor wants to curious.
Well, I mean,
I can ask of them.
I mean, I realize that these folks are not in the city, but still, what are the things you could do to kind of tamp down the noise?
Well, I think if a city facility is affecting the neighbor that's not in the city, we can enforce.
No, but I'm just saying, are there things we can do in addition to the closure to tamp down the noise? Is it?
We talked about buffers
Some
with
kind of
landscaping.
buffer, you know, landscaping.
That's why I was talking about getting the panels put up on the fence, because if it gets sound where I don't hear it, I don't care if it's 24/7.
Well, I mean, would the panels stop the noise?
Well, from what I read, now this is all what I've read, because I did some studying, it will cut down about 30% of the decibel.
Shouldn't we do both and? Like, think about a buffer, but also think about the hours?
I mean, I've heard they was,
I do think, what if something happens?
Build a wall, I've heard they're gonna plant trees, that's why I come, because they got everybody here.
What if something happens at 2 in the morning, somebody's playing pickleball, something happens?
Yeah.
You know, I still think your idea to enforce the hours is very wise, because being out there, because students will play all night long. What if something happens at 2 in the morning to somebody playing?
We've heard that there are people that have done that.
Oh, absolutely, I mean, because
But
they just.
we would be liable, correct?
Stay on all night long. That's the original problem right there, the lights stay on all night long.
I think
Each one's on the photos.
do your hours as well as look at buffers, both and.
But with the lights on the way to
So
do
I
it,
think-
just kill the
She's
lights.
going to.
But you can't.
You can't, according to the
What about the lights? So,
From what we were told at the PAC committee, the lights are on photo cells, which come on at dusk and don't go off again until in the morning. So they're on all night. That's what our PAC committee was told, so I don't know any more about that.
who put those up?
Allie's looking into it.
Yeah, so there's two Energy lights
That would be a
that
city.
have,
Okay, whoa, yeah.
I'm sorry, Ally. Yeah.
they're Duke Energy lights that are done by
Okay.
the photo cell. And so they are looking at technology to find a way to be able to turn them off.
Because if you turn them off, that would help a lot of
That would
situations.
be the perfect solution.
Can we also, at this point, it's been a long night, can we also
Sorry.
look at the buffering? I think these are all good. And then the paneling, the sound, the lessen the sound, just explore all options. It's nothing against the PRAC committee. It's just now that this is all out here, these are things we can consider.
Yeah, I'm just bringing you what the most recent thing was
No, I think that's,
No,
I
was
appreciate
supposed to
that.
bring, just to make, I think it was to make sure that we were consistent with the hours that are set up by this council now to go along with what's going on at the pickleball courts. Now, in the future, if there's any changes, then by all means, that's something that, council and all, we didn't have this problem before, so it's.
I appreciate it.
So it sounds like the action items are to look into this laundry list of options for buffer and sound reduction. Lights is already
well down the road.
well down that road, and then we can discuss if we need to revisit park hours.
And
Thank you.
And, again, I want to thank you all for all the support that you've given all the entities that fall under the PRAC committee. We have a lot, and we thank you for all of those things. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Those pickleballers.
Thank you.
I'm telling you.
Thank you, appreciate it. Next is staff reports. Andy.
I just got 3 things to bring to your attention. Glenn Dacus, who's worked with us for 23 years, is retiring this fall. And we're going to have a celebration of his career at 10 a.m. on September 19th at the Public Works Facility. Alexis Earl, better known as Rail, fills our halls with gospel singing. That might help you identify her. She's retiring after 13 years with the city, and on October 3rd at Public Works at 10 a.m. will be her retirement celebration. And I'm also sad to announce that Brandon Burton, our finance director, has taken a job to be a county administrator in McDuffie, Georgia, McDuffie County, Georgia.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
We will miss you.
We will.
Appreciate you.
Thank you for all you've done already.
Right,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
That's all I have.
That's good. Okay. All right.
3 big losses.
Yes.
Well deserved.
Yes, absolutely.
So next is policy action. Remember, reminder again, 2-minute limit per speaker. First is consider first reading of a proposed text amendment regarding buffer yard standards. Jacob's coming on up.
Jacob, my mind is so sharp right now. I'm so excited.
I bet. Well, I think we went over this pretty thoroughly at the public hearing, actually. So there has been no changes to the ordinances. Just as a recap to some people in the crowd may not have seen it. Basically, we are increasing our buffers in pretty much across the board, but we're also allowing for more flexibility to take landscape into consideration, and the ordinance itself takes height of buildings into consideration.
Thank you for recapping it.
Yes, thank you.
Questions for Jacob? All right, comments or questions from the public? All right, would someone like to make a motion?
I make a motion we approve the first reading of proposed text amendment regarding buffer yard standards.
Second.
All right, any comments or questions or discussion, I should say? All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Jacob, you're on again for the first reading of proposed text amendment regarding aerial frontage fences.
Yes. So this is for fences
that's
on
that's true.
residential lots that front both arterial roads and another road. So if the front of the house is facing a neighborhood road, and then the back or side of the house is on an arterial road, which are kind of like our main roads, then they would have the option to basically go through a variance through me for having a taller fence, and I can put whatever conditions that would normally apply to a variance on said approval.
Questions for Jacob from the public? All right, would somebody like to make a motion?
I'll make the motion that we approve the first reading of the proposed text amendment regarding arterial frontage fences.
Second.
Okay, comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much.
Leslie?
You're halfway out the door.
Next, Jacob's gone. I didn't mean to call you out, Jacob, but I did.
Left a pop of dust.
He's like,
But I did.
he just waved by.
All right, consider a resolution. All right, so Leslie, thank you for coming up.
Thank you,
for your patience as well. Consider a resolution to authorize the mayor to execute a letter of certification that the city of Clemson property tax millage rate calculations during this reassessment year comply with South Carolina Code 1243 2855. I can put on my glasses. For millage rate limits in South Carolina Code 1237 251. For calculation of rollback millage requirements. Leslie, what would you like to add?
Well, this is my first resolution, so I was hoping y'all wouldn't make me read it. The whereas is.
Oh, there you go.
So basically the state allows the county to reassess property once every 5 years. I think this was the 6th year. They waited an extra year. So when we received the assessed values for the city property, the county auditor is the one who's responsible for making sure what our rollback millage rate should be based on the new assessed values. And he has determined that the rollback millage should be 92.9 mills, whereas we voted on, or y'all voted, on 95 mills during the budget process. So this, the reassessed value before the growth and assessable transfer of interest transactions was calculated at $137,139. So we're just asking you to basically approve the millage rate of 92.9 in the rollback.
Thank you. Questions or comments for Leslie? Yeah.
This essentially a correction on top of what we just approved because they changed things after we approved it?
So we were not allowed, I mean, even, we set the millage at what we knew it would be, but it's a requirement that once they're finished with the reassessment, we have to reduce the millage unless you want to be within those limits that are on that, on one of those sheets that's in your packet. So the maximum you could have gone up was 99.1, but to be this sort of status quo, is the 95 would be a 92.9.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for clarifying. Any other questions for Leslie? Comments from the public? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the resolution to authorize mayor to execute the letter of certification that the City of Clemson property tax millage rate calculations during this reassessment year comply with SC Code 1243-2855A for millage rate limits and SC Code 1237-251E for calculations of rollback millage requirements.
Second.
Comments? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Other policy items, again, 2-minute limit per speaker. First, consider authorizing the city administrator to enter into a contract with Cobb County Tractor for the purchase of an aerial, and this time I am right, aerial lift. Brandon, you couldn't leave. You're going out with a bang here.
This is the spider.
Yeah, you got two items tonight too, Brandon, so there you go.
Can we borrow this
This is the
thing?
one we authorized in the budget.
Yes.
Right.
Brandon,
I
please, go ahead.
Thank y'all, and I appreciate, just quickly, I appreciate being able to work here. Clemson is a great place. There's no reason to leave, but egos, not really, but just the challenge of once you've led an organization or two organizations at times that you, for whatever reason, crazy as it sounds, you miss it. So, but I do appreciate the latitude and the growth that y'all allow me here. It's helped me both personally and professionally, and I'll always remember that. So thank y'all. This is for the spider lift, namely for Tony and his crew to use to be able to trim trees and reach high places. But it's also versatile that other departments will be able to use it too. Public Works, utilities, whomever, that's part of it. It was approved in the budget. We did issue an invitation to bid. We got some interest out of it, but we did get 2 quotes, and there is a bid difference. However, the low bid did not quite meet the specifications that we put out in the bid package. So we are requesting to go with the higher bid. The one from Cobb County Tractor is the one that met the specs. We've talked to other folks. Spartanburg County School Districts has one very similar to this. So we did, shop around and get opinions and everything, so.
And this cost is in line, I'm sorry, this cost is.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Sorry,
We do love each other up here. This cost is in line with the research you did with Spartanburg and all.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. This particular model, the cost is in line with other models that other agencies are using. We could, go with a cheaper model, but there was some risk associated with that.
We didn't want Tony to fall. We didn't want Tony to fall.
I understood.
I talked to the guys about it. This lift and the manufacturer and the serviceability and stuff it's a good choice.
Good. Yeah. I knew it was approved in the budget.
All right. Any other comments or questions? You gotta wait. Any comments from the public? All right, would somebody like to make a motion to go buy that thing?
I make a motion we approve authorizing the city administrator to enter into a contract with Cobb County Tractor for the purchase of an aerial lift.
It's kind of tough. All right, comments or discussion, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much.
Is Cobb County?
Are y'all just gonna?
Georgia.
You're just tag teaming here. All right, Leslie, come on up to consider an amendment to the fiscal year 2026 budget.
Yes, the amendment that we have submitted is basically, one good thing about getting the property tax assessed values is you know exactly what the assessed values are, because during our budget process, we do a lot of estimating. And so it will have some additional revenues, and then we also have done more research for what we were doing on the IPRB bond and the projects, that being like the Abernathy part knowing more about how much we're gonna allocate to those projects. So that's also in here. There are some payroll changes and some professional development, some jail renovations that we are required to do, and a debt payment that got missed in the original budget process. So but it was a misunderstanding because they thought we wouldn't have to pay it because of the new Pendleton plant, but we still owe it. So anyway, those are the main things in the budget amendment. If there are any questions.
The only thing I'll add, you didn't mention the zoning rewrite, but.
Oh, yeah, the zoning rewrite.
And the other thing, please share with your team, it's pretty impressive how close y'all are, even on an estimate. So that's impressive, so thank you. All right, comments, questions for Leslie? Comments from the public? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the amendment to the fiscal year 2026 budget.
Second. Okay, comments and discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. Now back to Brandon. Consider authorizing the city administrator to enter in a contract with Tiger Wash for car washing services. Brandon.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. This one is, few jurisdictions do this, some don't, but this was sort of increase our operational efficiency. We were having a lot of folks that did have smaller accounts with different car washes around, and administration's direction, we try to consolidate that and offer that, citywide to all the, my words right here, all the passenger vehicles. There's right at 130 vehicles that are eligible. Not all the vehicles will use it. Some will use it once a week, some might use it once a month, some may not use it at all. So in negotiating with Tiger Wash, we'll revisit this, or the city will revisit this in 3 months and adjust accordingly to see how it is. They've assured us that they'll put a sticker, some sort of tracking device on each vehicle, so they'll know when they come to get washed, the frequency, and the location. Since Tiger Wash has several locations out, some of the officers, particularly if they don't, live in the city, if they live out, they can catch one of the outlying car washes. And also, it's part of just maintaining our fleet. Keeping it clean is preventative maintenance. So we did receive one bid for about $240,000 per year. That was for them to come on site and do everything. So there was a little bit of sticker shock there. So just roughly estimating, we're looking at $39,000 a year. But I will say I feel confident that price will come down once we figure out how everyone utilizes the program.
How soon city council cars are not included?
You have to be a government.
I find it amazing that you got a bid for $240,000, and then Tal came in at 39. That's, you got to remember that.
Now that 39 is estimated. They're going to charge actual based on the rate per wash, right?
It will be actually correct. And we just estimated this out that if everybody participates once a week,
got it.
And gets charged. That's how we came up with that. But it will be adjusted, and I feel pretty confident to say it'll be adjusted downward.
Thank you. Other comments or questions from the public?
Do you have a question?
Yes, sir.
I think I gotta say the name.
You still have to say it.
Some people don't.
I think I have to.
Yeah, you do.
Roy Tyler, 143 Folger
Yes, sir.
Street.
Yes, sir.
In dealing with Tiger Wash in the past, I believe, and I just want some clarification, that $25 a month is per vehicle, but isn't that unlimited washes?
It is
unlimited per vehicle is what you're paying. And so
for that month. Yeah.
For that month. So
This says once per week per vehicle at a rate of $25 per month.
That's why I'm asking, because the way they're Tiger, I do promotions with them. So anyway, I just wanted clarification.
I think they did that kind of an average to do their budgeting on that. But I think he's right about it doing on everything.
Yeah, well, I thought it was too.
It will, and it'll be adjusted during that 3 month period. Because like I said, some vehicles probably won't use it at all.
Sure.
Some may need to use it twice a week if they get dirty or something. So those will be adjusted. So.
other comments?
I guess the only other thing I would tell you, the only thing that doesn't include the 240,000 is doing the inside of your vehicle and doing your windshields that you gotta do it. So that's what it doesn't include. So, but Tiger Wash is awesome.
All right. Any other comments from the public? If not, would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion that we authorize the city administrator to enter into a contract with Tiger Wash for car washing services.
Second.
Comments?
Okay.
Yep.
Not to exceed $39,000, knowing that we're gonna be able to review the use. Cool. That's my comment. No, I didn't.
It's a comment added, but we're gonna be monitoring it, so thank you. All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you. Thank you, Brandon. Have a great evening.
Yeah. Ethan,
you're the last.
Hey, you deserve the A for the day.
You get the award for being the
Yeah.
last one.
Try to make it a point not to come, but you know, it's all right. Good evening. So I, as the stormwater manager, have really actually been looking forward to this. Worked with finance. We are required in our MS4 permit to do quarterly sampling of 18 Mile Creek. It is impaired for fecal coliform. We pull 8 samples a year at $50 a piece, and we test for E. coli. All it tells us is a quantifiable number. Is it high? Is it low? Part of our permit is to reach a 57% waste load reduction. In my 5 years here, we've gotten close at times and not gotten close at times. Quite frankly, I think we do a good job, and we have put in a lot of projects and run our pet waste station program to help reduce this. And I think there's a lot of what we call background noise coming from animals that are contributing to this. So, worked with finance, and we put together a proposal to do microbial source testing. Sometimes it's called microbial source tracking. Essentially what it is we'll be testing, taking grab samples and send them off to a certified lab, and it will quantify, it is either human, goose, cattle, hog, or dog. Basically, the whole point is we want it to be low on human, because that means we've done the best we can. Unless Chief lets us start shooting hogs or something, then I don't know what we're gonna do about that, but we'll figure that out going from there, which I'm not advocating for by any means. But I want to know that we're doing a good job, so don't worry.
It's getting late.
Got it on record, y'all.
No, I'm not advocating. So, we got significant interest, but we only ended up getting one proposal from GT Molecular. That is a firm and testing facility out in Fort Collins, Colorado. Essentially, what we will be doing is 5 sets of 6 samples, give us 30 samples throughout the life of the tests. They run at $400 a piece, and so they quoted it at $12,000. They send us the entire kit. We go do our grab samples, whether it's a rainy event or a dry event, different temperatures, that kind of stuff. And then we overnight it back to them. They handle all the stuff and get us the test results. I believe it's set in 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, that poor UPS guy.
So, I'm coming to you to see if the city administrator can enter into a contract with GT Molecular Inc. for microbial source testing.
And this is gonna just make it more specific to that it's not human waste, but possibly the animal waste and geese, I think you said geese, dogs, and cows?
Human, goose, cattle, hog, and dogs are the parameters that we chose. They do a few more like seagulls and a few other things, but not really applicable for our area.
Okay.
But that is the gist. We're hoping that the human count is low.
Correct. Okay.
But if it's not, then it means we got more work to do. So, yeah.
Ethan, in addition, I think this is a great plan. There's a laboratory at the university, David Clayton runs it, that does fecal water testing, stormwater testing, and drain, which could be a great resource to you also, in addition to this.
Yeah, they actually used to do the same sampling at the old environmental intox building in Pendleton, the Water Resource Center, but they ended up dropping it because they did not have enough
His lab still does it, but he wouldn't be as specific as this or probably as efficient as this. So just another resource for you.
We can definitely look into that,
Awesome.
especially because I'd like to do this, not just on 18 Mile right now, but
Extra
maybe branch
places.
it out to our other bases in the future.
All right, thank you, Ethan. Comments from the public? Would somebody like to make a motion?
I make a motion to authorize city administrator to enter into a contract with GT Molecular Inc. for microbial source testing.
Second.
Any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you, Ethan. Appreciate it. Have a great evening. So second to last item, the possibility of going into executive session to discuss a contractual agreement regarding the Sincerely Daniel exhibit. Would somebody like to make a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All right, any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. We'll be back.
19.
19?
Okay.
19.
All right, would someone like to make a motion to go back into regular session? Okay.
Second.
Any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. And we're coming out of an executive session. Would somebody like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to allow the city administrator to enter into a contractual agreement regarding the Sincerely Daniel exhibit pursuant to SC Code Section 30-4-702.
Second.
Comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. All right, thank you very much. I'm sorry. And we are going to change this next time. We'll put mayor, council reports, comments, new business before executive session, but mayor, council reports, comments, new business. We'll start with council reports. Anything? Comments? Anything? And new business?
You're tired.
All right. That's a comment, so you're tired. Okay, all right. Would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn? Any comments or discussion? All in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you very much. We're adjourned. Have a great evening.